This is such an interesting announcement that I'm not sitting at the usual place. That and because, I don't know, a whole bunch of times people comment on Mop and other places, oh my God, it's just another bunch of devs sitting on a couch. Okay, I'm sitting on a chair. How's that? Better? Also, no Christmas palm tree, but we have the Halloween palm sort of thing. So, yeah, can you guys hear me? Comments and all that. Are we actually?
Yes, you can be heard.
Okay, so this is the first time we're trying this, and literally at 4 minutes before the hour, we still weren't getting sound from what we wanted to show you coming across the wire. And, you know, after going through a whole bunch of things, Andrew said, hey, I wonder if it's muted on your PC. Yep. So, cone of shame here. Points for Andrew for figuring it out. If I had the cone of shame, I would wear it. But then I would have to take it off. Because what I'm going to tell you is going to be a very interesting reveal. Because reveal is a good word. So, Max, turn off comments for now, please.
Okay.
So, I'm turning off comments. Why am I turning off comments? So, before I turn off comments, let me just say, we're not going out of business. We're not selling the company or CU or anything else to anybody else. We're not laying off people. It's nothing like that. It's just that what you're going to hear at first is going to surprise you. And some of you may get angry. But I promise you, by the end, not only will you see exactly what we have in mind, but I think most of you, almost all of you, will be really happy. So hear me out. I'm going to talk for a little bit. I'm going to tell you a story. And then we're going to go play something together. And God, I hope that works. So the story. April 2019. I am running the Cherry Keep Siege. Some of you may have been in it. And I started bringing in NPCs. And that was kind of cool. And so we went from 1,000 to 18,000. And by then, some of you were literally losing your minds, saying some amazing things. Oh, this is like Total War plus, you know, Camelot. And oh my God, this would be so cool if we could play this game. Oh, I had an idea. And I sat on the idea for 2 weeks. And then I started doing some research on the idea. And then I said, God damn it, it's a good idea. It's a really good idea. Because the idea became something that will be actually quite relevant to you backers. And then I built a brand around the idea. And then I built another brand around the brand. But I still wasn't sure. So I do what I usually do with ideas. I go to Andrew. And Andrew will be the first to call bullshit on anything here, including himself at times. And I was expecting Andrew to go, nope. And instead, Andrew said, I want to make that game. Oh. Well, then I went to George. George, as you know, heads up the studio in Seattle, and he's another guy that I can trust to tell me the truth. And George said the same thing, that he wanted to make the game. Then I went to Tim, and Tim said the same thing. Crap. So then I went to everybody else in leadership and said, what do you all think? And every one of them said, we got to make that game. Okay. So we then tasked the producers to figure out if we could make CU and this other game at the same time. And the answer was not only could we do that, but between 70 and 90, depending on the week, % of the work we were going to be doing was going to be used for both games. And you've seen that in all the updates. Let me stress to you, everything that we've told you, everything has been and will continue to be absolutely true. The work that went into this game is the same work we're using for CU. Linuxification, super important, obviously. I've been talking about it for years. We've been running Linux-based game servers for the last few days, and they're running pretty good. Not quite there yet, but we should be there another week. Overmind, Skybowl, improved animation system, or improvements to the animation system, improvements to the ability system, whole new way of doing the Skybowl, the Sky Dome, on and on and on. And so when I saw that, I said, okay, I'll take it to the investors. And the investors thought about it for 2 weeks and said, we love it. It's brilliant. We'll back it. We'll throw more money at you, and you can hire more people and keep working on CU and on this other game, which the secret title was Project Colossus. Hence, a Colossal update. Hence my use of Colossal and I think at least 2 different places over the last month. And so in July, I went to the team and I said to them, here's what we're thinking. If you all don't want to do it, we ain't going to do it. And almost everybody said yes. And by almost everybody, it was really one person who didn't want to do it, so he left. Everyone else was excited. We then hired more people, and the people who have come in since then have been fantastic, absolutely fantastic, on both the engineering side, production side, and on the art side as well. And the best part is you're going to get to see all this stuff, in a few more minutes. Well, hopefully. And so with that behind us, in July, we started designing the game, started laying some things out. Within a few weeks, we had first playable. And over the last, it's really about 4.5 months of full work for the team, again, on both games. Because we've been doing pure CU stuff at the same time we've been doing Colossus stuff. In the last 4.5 months, we are delivering something. We have delivered something that not only am I incredibly proud of, but something that even George, for example, is blown away by when compared to other teams that he and games he's worked on. This is no insult to other teams. I worked at Mythic, and we had a great team who delivered Camelot Unchained in 18 months, other games in a short period of time. But what this small team has done in this amount of time, while bringing in a lot of new people, is literally nothing short of amazing, and I am incredibly proud of them. And over these months, we have developed not a demo, not, oh, well, it's just another cherry keep thing, Mark. Actually, no, it isn't. It is a game. It is anywhere between a 10 or 20 minute slice of something that we think a lot of you are really going to like. And while we've been doing that and getting new art and finding new ways to do things and improved ways of doing things, like I said, we have kept doing things for CU. And that's as far as I'm concerned, the amazing part. Not that not alone that we did this while building out an engine. And again, things like Overmind, Linuxification, all of this is done, and it was done from scratch while we were making the game. And that's a pretty special thing. And it's really important for you folks to remember, all of this is going into CU. So things that we're doing now, we won't have to do again. I swear to God, we are not going to have a refactor of Linuxification. It's just not how it works. We'll be improving it, but not, like we had to do with the ability system. Things like Overmind, again, the stuff with the sky. All this stuff is now part of CU. And you'll be seeing it both in Colossus and in CU. And that's just the start. So, while we're talking about this, there's something else that's really important. And the question is, that many of you are going to be asking, well, what about CU? And hey, are you trying to sell us a new game? The answer to both is one I know, I would like to say everyone, but there's always one, right? Would say those are great answers. So, first, are we trying to sell you something? That I'm going to address in a moment. The answer is no. And second, when it comes to CU, well, you'll judge for yourself. You'll see what we've done for this game. You'll see how it applies to CU. You'll see the other things we'll be doing for CU as we continue to move forward on both games. Now, the important thing, the most important thing, in some ways, is what I said to the investors. And they were really good about this. There was a little convincing that needed to be done. But I've always said to you backers, whether you were a backer from a week ago or a backer from 6 years ago or a backer from my MUDs, is that I always wanted to treat people the way I wanted to be treated. So I made that promise. I've always made that promise. And to me, that's a promise that must be kept. So first of all, this game will cost you nothing, zero. It is going to be a buy-to-play game. Every single backer of Camelot Unchained, as of 4 o'clock today, will get a free copy of the game, period. Second, that alone is okay, but it's not fair. Some of you have been backing us for a long time. Others of you have backed us, in some cases, I think 2 hours ago. And you folks who've been backing us for a while should get something more if we're going to do something like this. It is only fair. So what I said to the investors was that I want to take a percentage of your tiers, multiply it by the number of years you've backed, and give that to you in credits for the game. As a buy-to-play game with obviously no lock boxes, no pay-to-win bullshit, we're going to be selling battle passes and stuff like that. My goal was for all of our founders, those who have been with us the longest time, to not only not pay for the game, and not only not pay for things for the first year, but to be able to buy things for a while afterwards. And that's not even if you have a big tier. If you have a big tier, you could be like Santa Claus. And, this is our way. And speaking for myself, the studio, Andrew, and the investors, this is our way of saying thank you to all of you for your patience. Because those two things aren't necessary. We could have done anything we wanted, quite frankly. It's obviously our studio, the investors, and myself put in additional money for this game. None of the CU money that was raised over the last, through July through December was put into this game. It was just the investors and I who believed in this enough to put in additional money. But we did it. We did it, we did these first two things because we wanted to say thank you, because we've never treated you as walking wallets, because we wanted to differentiate ourselves from other people in the industry. So we did that. But there's still more. There's the third and the fourth. The third one, that's also a good one, is that the investors agreed that if this game is very successful, of course, we can take a percentage of the money and devote it to CU only. So that means more engineers, that means more artists. So we hope that will speed up CU even more than all the work we've already done. And fourth and finally, I also got them to agree, if by some unexpected circumstance that this game is hugely successful, that we will be giving some of that money back to you. And I don't mean in the form of, oh, look, I gave you a digital t-shirt, a skin, anything like that, because that's not good enough. We'll be giving back a percentage of that money to you in credits for the subscription of CU. That is our 4 ways of saying thank you to you, our backers. For you have had patience, in some cases since 2013, or since the mid-'80s in some cases, for you guys who've known me that long. But it's the same thing I've done in the past, and that is to treat you the way I want to be treated. And before we get to the game, I want to stress two things that are important. We're also we're not turning off refunds. So if you folks are unhappy, the refunds will still be available. I hope you are happy. I hope you at least play the game and see where we're going with both CU and Colossus. But if you're not, we're sticking again to what we said right from the beginning. As long as we work on Colossus, we're going to continue to do what we're doing, and which is trying to make a great game. And we hope you all join us because with with CU. With Colossus and CU, we think you're going to have a lot of fun starting like real soon, like next week for some of you. Um, but the other thing that's super important is the fact that we honestly believe that everything we've done, will speed up CU not only in the short term but in the long term. And I talk about this a little with Massively, who will be doing a story in about 10 minutes about what we've been doing with Colossus. And it's so important to understand again that things like Linuxification, things like Overmind, things like improvements to the animation system, improving the rendering system, improving, just everything that we needed to get this game launched, matchmaking, um, all of that, the auto scaling of servers had to be done for CU anyway. And now so much of it is done. So it isn't like we've spent these last 6 months not working on CU. We've both worked on CU and Colossus and things that we needed for both games. Not things we kind of wanted to have, but things we absolutely needed. Those are done now. And that alone will keep us, even if you consider our pace leisurely, which in the last 4.5 months certainly isn't that. Even if you consider that, now it isn't so leisurely because you look at everything that we have gotten done. And now we'll be able to speed things up even more. And when you see how quickly this thing has come together in a very different experience than CU, you'll understand why I say not only do I have confidence that we'll be delivering CU sooner than some people expect, but I have no doubt that if Colossus is successful, we'll be able to not only keep the pace, but we'll be able to spend more money on the game and make it look even better and have some more features, maybe even pull in some of the things that would have been in extenders into the game. And so we see this as a win for CU. We see it a win for, hopefully, for CSE. And if nothing else, we ended up getting a lot of things done that we needed for CU. And at the same time, showing something that you can't find in any other game. And that will be the last thing I talk about now before I actually start live streaming. And this is going to be fun. So, folks, we have 3 realms. One of those realms happens to have a great story, a fabulous legend, one that has been used in films, sort of used in games, used in books. It is a legend that will be familiar to all those, who've paid attention to mythology, who've even watched, a Marvel movie. And that theme and that kind of special action is something that the Unchained engine was able to deliver on in a way that I think will surprise even some of the people who were in our tests. Or I should say, especially to those who were in our tests. Because when you saw the NPCs the last time, they were pretty much as dumb as rocks. And as I've always said, that's an insult to rocks. They're not so dumb anymore. And things like movement speed in CU, things like ability speed in CU, all these other things in CU have been improved for this game. And it is to give you something that you can't find right now anywhere else in gaming. And that is a crazy experience. The ability to feel like you are in these massive, truly in these massive battles. And the theme for it is a good one. And so, because I want to start streaming and I want to shut up, at least in some ways, I want to say, as I like to quote movies, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, dying time is here. We welcome you to Final Stand Ragnarok. Okay, folks, jump in, please, to Wolf here. Join me. So, welcome to Ragnarok, folks. What you are seeing is Ayala the Archer, one of the 4 champions of Ragnarok that we have. As you can see, little bit different than the Sky Dome and Sky Bowl of Camelot Unchained. Movement speed, the character itself, attack speed. Little bit of range on those. The defense towers that will also be part of CU. And look, a dragon. This is a co-op game. It is PvE based. You will be playing with a squad of anywhere from, during testing, of 10 people. It could be 6. It could be 60. The engine doesn't care. If you look carefully on the right side of your screen, you'll see the number of NPCs that are coming in. Check this out. During these battles, we will be in 1,000 or more with 1,000 or more NPCs. Squad mates are coming in. These are folks from CU. Other folks can, such as our IT testers, will be invited in later. As you can see, there are some interesting abilities already. You are defending this tower, or in this case trying to, obviously not successfully, from the hordes of hell. In this case, it is the mindless dead, the dishonored dead, but other dead are also in the game. We have 12 different NPC types, I believe, already in. Items that you pick up from the ground to aid you in your quest. In this case, a trap. Little break, and more NPCs will be coming in. This game has tower defense elements, which we will be expanding on as we continue to work on this over the next 6 months. Let's put down the trap. Here comes our Berserker and another Archer. Where's everyone else, guys? More traps. Michael, jump in. I don't see you. I see Michelle. Oh, right, there is Michael. Sorry. Sorry, kiddo. Where's everyone else? Come on, guys. Ben. Right. So as you can see, more people coming in, albeit slowly. Come on, folks. Jump in. We now have a 5-player match. Oh. So we'll start another match. There we go. Now we've got 8 people. Now we should survive a little bit longer this time. So for those of you who were in our test before, you saw obviously our amazing render distance and view distance. Well, this should be familiar to you. I can literally shoot almost across the map. Our 4 champions at start are Ayala the Archer. She's an Amazon. We have Jabal Sur, who is a Saracen Knight. We have Jon Snorre, who's a Berserker. And last, and certainly not least, though I don't see her in the list, is Gwenillian, who's our Celtic Spear Maiden. A bit of a pet class. There she is. And now you're going to see 10 players versus 1,000 or more of the dead. And this is what the Unchained engine can do. We've been telling you about how we can handle battles that other games can't. That even with now about 1,000 NPCs on the screen, with all the other things on the screen, with players on the screen, we are networking this, we are rendering this, and as you can see from my frame rate, we are playing a game that is not a slideshow. And when we promised you back in the day that we were going to be able to network and have battles of 500 people and do things like this with NPCs, well, here you go. This is not a demo. This is not a drill. This is not fake. This is not enhanced. This is live, and you, our CU backers, will be playing this game, already playing this game, some of you, and more will be playing it starting this coming week. As I've been saying on the forums, we have to get a couple things done to get in a large group, or large groups of you, like auto-scaling of the servers, the game flow a little better, but that's it. We've had backers in there for weeks, giving feedback, helping us out, and we expect many of you will like this a lot. And for those even who don't like it, who don't want to have any PvE even as a distraction, what you're seeing now is all tech that we are going to use in CU. Other than maybe, pre-built buildings. But what we're doing with the attacks, what we're doing with the defense towers, the Overmind itself is going to be part of what we're calling the Dragon's Web, which is the way all of our buildings and all of our defensive structures connect. We've been working on that, design-wise for a while. And Overmind is an important part of that. Overmind is also an important part of course, the depths. And just as Overmind is making decisions right now based on what, Ben and I enter into spreadsheets, that will get a lot smarter, or it will get a lot smarter over the next 6 months. So, this is it. This is part of what we have been working on. Obviously, we've also been working on CU things. We've been working on, we've got siege weapons. We've been working on classes. We're going to have a new scenario based on Overmind, also set in the winter, for you folks to play, hopefully next month. The things that we've added, like Overmind, make it so easy for Ben and I to make changes, to these scenarios. Everything you are seeing here will, in some way or another, either has already made it into CU or will make it into CU. But we also hope some of you will really like this game. We think we have something here. We think we have a game that's already fun. A game that can be part of a really special experience for co-op players. And again, our engine doesn't care whether whether it's 4 people, 40 people, 400 people. As you can see, networking 1,000 or more NPCs, yeah, easy peasy. We've done 2,000. We've done 3,000. And frankly, our ability to truly scale is just limited mostly by how big of an instance we need to run to make these NPCs do things. And as you can see, this game is faster than CU. Much more action-based, no tab targeting. And even though I know it's not fast enough for Ben, because Ben wants us to speed it up even more, we'll be looking for feedback from you folks, on that. Should the game be sped up more? Should attacks be even faster? Oh, shit. Archers. They're a little bit OP right now. But you can see already how we've laid the framework for a really interesting game. For something that we hope you folks will play while you're also playing CU. For a game that we hope other people will play, because if other people play this game, well, it helps CU. It helps by not only developing the tech, but by field testing the tech, and as the investors agreed with me, that we can put more money into CU. More engineers, more artists. All that stuff that we need to make CU a great, quite a great game, and you're seeing a lot of it in action right now. All going to be field tested way before the whole way before all CU is done, and that is a big win for everybody. So since it's 4:30, right now there should be a story up on Massively. I'll have Max turn on comments. I'll keep streaming and answering comments at the same time, or questions at the same time. But look, again, thank you for your patience. Thank you for your support. I hope you enjoy Ragnarok. I hope you enjoy CU, because you guys who have backed us, whether yesterday or 6 years ago, this is your game as well. And as I said earlier, we're not looking to monetize you folks at all. We're looking to give you a great game, something you can have fun with, something you can play with other CU backers or other friends who might not be into RVR. And we hope you enjoy it. We've enjoyed making this quite a lot. We've enjoyed really just about almost every aspect, other than we couldn't say anything about it. And we didn't even tell, in many cases, our spouses about it. There were some surprises when we told folks what was going on. So that's it. Again, I'm going to keep playing with the team and start answering your questions.
And chat is go.
Chat is go. I'll switch characters. I think I'll play. I'll play the Berserker.
Do you want me to read out questions?
Yeah. Well, since I'm playing, I think that would be probably better than me trying to guess. But I could do that.
Well, I just was trying to give you a minute.
No, I know.
Abducted Gaming asks, for this new game, are there going to be actual keeps that are destructible? Siege and destructible keeps is what I most liked about Cherry Keep, not NPC swarms.
Okay, hang on 1 second. Let me switch over to the Berserker. So for this game, we will bring in siege weapons in terms of destructible castles, probably not. Destructible other things, absolutely. But true castle sieges doesn't fit the Ragnarok motif. Right now, you are a champion of Ragnarok. You were brought to Asgard to stand with Odin and their forces against or on the day of Ragnarok. And so, that is what you are tasked with. You'll be setting up barricades. You'll be using traps. You'll be using, defensive structures that you will be able to repair. You'll be able to do other things. But in terms of building, full castles, not in this version, certainly, of the game.
Pro Going Rude asks, how long will you be working on this game?
Well, we're hoping that this game turns into something successful. So we'll be working on it for, we're hoping, quite a while. In terms of how long we'll be working on it before, it would go gold, we're hoping to launch it later this year.
Poca on YouTube chat asks, is this a MOBA?
No. What this game is? It's a bit of a hybrid. So it's certainly got some elements that you would consider MOBA-like, or people might consider MOBA-like. It's got tower defense elements. It's very much, at least in concept, similar to great games like Left 4 Dead or even World War Z, where you're fighting huge waves. But the difference in this game, and this is how we talked about it with our investors and with the team, is that the big difference in this game is when you see a big wave, you're not running away. You are running into them. You are fighting alongside your friends, your fellow champions, against this absolutely insane number of NPCs.
Critical Danny asks, how much will this affect the development time of CU, since some of the tech will be first tested here?
We're hoping it will speed it up, and that's one of the most important things. When you look at what you're seeing in front of you, look at this class. Does it sound, or this character, does it sound like any class for CU? Remember the whole spirit pet thing? Well, right there. Linuxification. All this stuff is being done and being field tested by people such as yourselves, but also people who will play Colossus but not play CU. And so we're hoping it's a significant savings of time. And look, even though you might think, oh, it's easy for you to say that, Mark. Yeah, actually it is. Because look at how long it took us to do Linuxification. And so that was with the extra engineers we brought in, and 3 very sharp engineers, to go with the guys and gals who are already here and really good at their jobs. And it still took us a while to do it. And so if this had happened, if we hadn't done this, and say 6 months from now, we said, okay, guys, time for Linuxification, and there was a big delay because of it, you guys would have been, pissed at us then. And you would have had every right to be. It would be like, well, why didn't you start with Linux? Well, we couldn't, as we explained quite a while ago. .NET wasn't like a thing on Linux in 2013. Otherwise, we might have. So this was going to have to be done. But we did it here. So it doesn't have to be done again for CU. Then the Overmind. Then stuff like the Sky Dome and the Sky Bowl, which are, not even close to being finished, but look at how good they look already. The ability to handle these many NPCs and, control them obviously fits in very nicely with the depths. And all of this being done now, not later, not soonish, but now. And that is one of the big wins for you folks, is that all this stuff is being done for this game and for CU, but it's going to be tested in larger scale with this game than it would be at first for CU. So we're really hoping you guys and gals agree with that and you like what you see, because this is going to be a fun game, hopefully a very fun game that if it's successful, we get to hire archers. They are so OP at this moment. Um, we get to hire more engineers and more artists to speed up CU. So, next question, please. We lost again.
M. Sanchez asks, question, you said earlier that no backer funding between July 2019 and December 2019 was used to create this game.
Correct.
Did you use backer money from contributors who pledged prior to July 2019?
Nope. All the money from that period, over that period of time, came from the investors and myself.
Several people are asking, what do you say to folks who are fans of Dayoc and CU who feel disappointed by this?
Be patient. I mean, honestly, if you look at what we've done, even if you're not interested in in Colossus, but liked only the RVR of Dayoc, the majority of this code, the vast majority of this code, is being used for both games. And again, I cannot stress that enough. All this stuff, almost all this stuff, really is for both games. So, is there a reason to be disappointed? Honestly, I don't think so. We're giving you this game. We're not charging you for this game. We are using all the tech from this game, in CU. If we're successful with this, we will also put more money into CU. Thanks to the investors, let's switch characters again. We also got additional engineers that we were able to use to get this stuff for both Colossus and for CU. So, if I can understand if people are disappointed, of course I can. But I wouldn't be. I would actually be excited because you're seeing things that we've talked about for many months. Again, Linuxification, the beginnings of defense systems, the things that are so important to CU's development that were also important, to Dayoc. We've shown keep sieges, and now we can have things like these defense towers, warning towers, other towers going in as well, and we're connecting them. And we're connecting them to logic so they can, make decisions on their own about what to do, about the guards for your home, the guards for your castle. If we were making a totally different game, I can understand some disappointment. But the fact is, we're not making a totally different game. This is a game, while it's a PvE game and a co-op game, is still testing out so many of the things we need for CU. It's really that simple, And it's even this, what you're seeing here, the ability to network all these NPCs and players, because we'll have other co-op matches with even more players in them. All of that is for CU. So, can you be disappointed if you want to? Of course, but it really depends on, as far as I'm concerned, how you want to look at things. And I'm hoping everyone, and though I know it won't be everyone, because you never can make everyone happy, and we weren't trying to, because again, you can't. We are hoping, though, that everyone looks at this and says, oh, this looks like fun. And if it's going to help CU and it's going to speed up CU's development, then I'm all for it, because it already has. I mean, again, Linuxification. And if you just do, the math, if we had less engineers on Linuxification than we did now, because, we wouldn't have had the investor support for, hiring a lot more people at that point, then this stuff would have taken longer. So, they're really, it isn't a question of how one wants to interpret, what I'm saying or what we've done. All of the things here that you are seeing right now, all of this is going to help CU. Every single bit of it. Even the Draugr that you're seeing, most of them will be repurposed in some way in CU. And the abilities, as you can see, the speed of the game. We can speed up CU if people think that that's a great idea. The things like we're using here, the barricades, can be part of CU if we wanted them, in terms of having pre-builts versus having to take out cube to do that. So again, we're hoping that very few of you are disappointed. We hope you're rather that you're excited to play something, and something you won't be charged for, something that is going to be very different from any other game out there, and a game that is going to speed up CU's development.
Indico asked somewhere hundreds of messages ago, how can we test Colossus, especially if it helps the development of CU?
So what's going to be happening as soon as we get the auto scaling code? We're going to be inviting our IT backers in. Then, if that goes well, we'll be inviting alphas in, and then betas. And when we're all good with that, we're going to also run this game on the weekends. That's part of having auto scaling and other things working, like GCP alerts, to keep track of what we're spending. Because this game, unlike CU, this game is actually more expensive to run because of the NPCs. Having the instances to control them versus players, being able to control themselves. So we're going to run this on weekends for a while, and we hope to run it once we get the code working the way we want, all day, and not just for a few hours. And you'll be able to jump in, and you'll be able to play. We have the first beginnings of matchmaking in. We'll have more with that. That will also be used for CU, since we do want to have small tests like 8v8s, since we want to not just run large scenario testing, but small scale testing. That will all work out nicely for us. So yeah, that's how you'll be able to test it.
A lot of people are asking about progression in Colossus.
So progression in Colossus will come in two forms. Some of it will be in-game, like you're seeing now, and then there'll be account level progression too. So you'll be able to get things that will power up your character. You'll have things that will be power up your account. You'll have more champions. What you're seeing again is literally about 4.5 months of work from a full team, since we didn't have everyone here the whole time. Imagine what we'll be able to do in the next 4.5 months, not only for Colossus, but for CU, because of the incredible groundwork that has been laid by the art and the engineering teams, as well as design. But since I'm one of them, it seems kind of disingenuous to talk about that. Hey, Nihag.
A lot of people are asking about what percentage is the completion of Camelot Unchained.
We have not even tried to figure that out. That's not something we've ever done. That's not anything we are frankly going to do, because whatever number we give you will be wrong. Because even if I said, hey, we're 81%, which we're not, but if we were, it's a meaningless number, because you can say it's complete, but until we can get in, you guys can get in and start playing and iterating and telling us what we did wrong, then it really doesn't matter much. Okay, thank you, everybody. I'll just talk now. So tell Seattle, somebody on Discord, that they don't have to jump in anymore.
You want me to make your image big?
Yeah. But this is cool. I mean, Colossus, I should call it by its real name, Ragnarok, is a fun game. And it's going to be a really fun game. You look at those great games. I mean, Left 4 Dead, the series, absolutely fantastic. World War Z surprised a lot of people, came out, sold really well. Saber Interactive has done some great games. And so, we think we have something very different. We love the idea of being able to fight a last stand, a final stand against incredible odds. We love, I mean, when I mean we, I mean people who've been playing the game so far, just enjoy the challenge of that. And as more tactics and abilities get added, as combos get added, as progression gets added, as more items, both for players and for NPCs, the game just gets more interesting. And again, so much of this stuff is all for CU as well. And so, I look at this as a really exciting time. I look at this as a chance for people just to have fun, play a game, all courtesy, of CSE and your, support up to now. Hopefully you all agree, or almost all agree.
A lot of people want to know if the art style is representative of what CU will be.
No, not at all. Yeah. Here. Listen. No, CU is CU, Colossus, or Ragnarok is Ragnarok. CU isn't changing in that way, not at all. We like where we are with CU. I mean, we're going to work to improve it, but this art style is made for this game. It is not made for CU. It's not made for other games we hope to make, under the Final Stand brand. This is very specific to the kind of game we wanted to make here, which is really different from CU. That CU's art style, the direction of the game, all of that, none of that is going to change. That's where we're going. That's what the promise we made to you guys, 6 years ago, and we're sticking to it.
Zex Playing asked, same attack speeds or spell speeds or movement speed, are they like CU?
No, this is much faster than CU. And as I said, Ben would like it even faster. So we'll see how that goes.
Many people are asking about what about Beta 2 of CU?
Look, we have to get Beta 1 in great shape, and a lot of what you see here was going to be part of Beta 2, not Beta 1. Linuxification, for example. So, I would say that certainly I would got to be careful here because I can't give out dates because every time I do, bad things happen. I will absolutely say that over the next 6 months, you will see an awful lot of progress for both CU and for Colossus, without worrying about whether it's a Beta 1 or Beta 2 at this point. Again, by doing some of the things that we did here, we just blew through parts of Beta 2. So it's not. I'm not trying to be evasive, but it literally is. Linuxification was done ahead of schedule. We weren't going to worry about it yet. So.
Andrine has asked several times, how do you maintain engagement in this? It looks like it'll get old pretty quickly as is.
Well, and the thing is, so if you like this kind of game and you think of this is what we've done in 4.5 months, where's it going to be in another 4.5 months? So this was a demo area. This is meant to show you a lot of NPCs, show you, only a few types of them. This is only meant to be one part of the experience. The matches are meant to be a lot longer. There'll be a lot more abilities. You'll have a lot more NPCs in there. So what you've seen, we wanted to keep it simple. And one of the reasons we actually needed to keep it simple is that we don't have a big enough of an art team to do everything we would like with NPC effects, with their animations. So just take this as the smallest first playable you would expect a playable part of a game. Nowhere near what it will be at completion. Nowhere near.
Two Plies asks, you had to have known this would have some sort of backlash.
Mm-hmm.
What is the main reason you decided to go through with it anyway?
2 reasons. We thought that it would help CU. and we thought it would be a great game to make. I mean, it's really simple. Um, the investors were really clear with us. They agreed that, we had to make CU at the same time, which is great because we kind of wanted that. Um, and Yeah, it's really that simple. We think we could have a great game here. We think we have something really fun for the PC and for the console. As you can see, I was playing it on a controller. Almost everyone here plays it on one of those. Not the keyboard, though you can. We think this has a lot of potential. We have seen the success of other games that have done, you know, similar things, but not identical things. And we think we have a long way to go with it. And so when you put the two things together, then the answer, became kind of obvious that, we wanted to do it. We wanted to do both. Because anything that helps, if this helps CU as we expect it to, and we know it has, and at the same time we get to make a great game, kind of a win-win.
Some people are asking how much of a hand the investors had in the decision.
Well, since they had to sign off on additional money, I would say that they had a big hand in it. I mean, that's the bottom line. We told them that if we were going to make both, we needed additional funding. We wanted the funding earlier, sooner rather than later, so we could get this out sooner. They wanted it out sooner too, which was great. And they signed off on it because they love the idea, they love the brand, and they loved another brand that I'm building around that brand, which we're not talking about yet. But they love the idea of final stands, and let's face it, when you think of all the various games and IPs that folks like us like, the concept of a final stand is kind of a big one. It's used a lot, and we thought, what better than Ragnarok? Because that is a great final stand. It comes from one of our three realms. Um, it's perfect. It's an absolutely perfect scenario or setup for this kind of game. And like I've been saying, it's for CU as well. So when Ben builds out, the Winter Wonderland scenario, you guys will be fighting other players as well as NPCs using the Unchained abilities. And in the Unchained world, things as we've been talking about, like pathing for CU, is actually harder than pathing for Colossus. And the reason is because in CU, you all can build whatever you want as long as it can be physically stable. In this game, the artists and designers can control what the buildings look like, subject to what the engineers tell us the buildings, can have in terms of arches, in terms of anything that overlays, the bottom of the building, all sorts of things, height of roofs, anything like that. CU, you guys can build anything. And so the NPC logic for that was even harder than the NPC logic for Colossus. And that too would have taken us longer than it already has if we weren't making Colossus. We had already started on NPC logic before, we had started on Colossus. So, once again, another example of something that is absolutely going into, and helping CU's development in a big way. And with the way the NPCs now path and the behaviors that we're laying out to them for them to make them smarter, to make them more deadly, that's also going to help CU both for the depths, but also for defense of your buildings.
Many people are asking a version of this question. Helzik asks, in the past there have been development delays due to restrictions in studio size, in other words, working hands. Has this changed enough to make you confident that CSE can make 2 games in more reasonable time than the already much delayed CU?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, again, look at what we've done in the last 4.5 months on Colossus, as well as some additional time on CU. Getting the extra engineers, getting the extra artists has really helped. We've gotten out so much more code than we did before, not simply because of the additional engineers, but because we've been building on established code. We've been building on the base that was and is the Unchained engine, and we couldn't have done this from the start. Even if we had thought that Colossus was the right idea from day one, we couldn't have done this. I was talking with George about this the other night, and we were just talking about whether you could do a game like this in other engines as quickly as we did it. And he said no. Based on his experience, what this team has done is amazing, and that even if he was using Unreal or Unity or any other engine, it wouldn't have been anywhere near as easy as it was to not only get it done based on our engine, but also get the other things done we needed to get done on our engine. And when you look at the performance of it, I mean, what you saw was 1,000 or more NPCs, not only on your screen, but being networked across an almost unlimited number of players. We only had 10, but it could have been 100. It could have been 1,000. The only difference is we have to, spin up some more instances. And that is what this engine can do. And that's what makes it so unique. We've seen, obviously, other engines talk about their promise and that how they can handle, hundreds or thousands of people in a battle royale. Well, look at what we can do. And yet nobody else has shown they can do the things that they've said they can do when you get to those numbers. We've just showed you 1,000 NPCs, and you saw the performance of the game. We can double that really easily. And then if we want to go higher than that, it's just a matter of having bigger instances. So we can handle it, and we can handle it fairly efficiently.
Some people are asking if Colossus is a mobile game.
No plans for it to be on mobile at the present time. It is a PC game for now. We would like to port the engine to console. We've been talking to a couple of publishers about it. This is a game that's tailor-made for consoles. Throw in a split screen mode and make some other changes to it, and you've got a game that has a chance to be quite successful on the consoles, as well as on the PC. But for mobile, no plans as of yet. I'm not saying we're not going to do it, but that's a whole nother level of porting down of the engine.
Sorry, there are 800 people. Some people are asking if this is a distraction.
Well, of course, in some ways, it would always be a distraction. On the other hand, not all of it is a distraction, and that's the important thing. Linuxification, NPC pathing, overmind. So, whether you're making CU or you're pre-production on another game, or you're just thinking about something else, there's always things that will be distracting. But I urge you, look at all the things you just saw and try to pick out what couldn't be used in CU. And there's almost none of it. There really is almost nothing that you saw that we couldn't use in CU. And so, is it a distraction? Well, the new artists who were here wouldn't have been here to make CU, not yet. So they're not really distracted from making CU because they wouldn't have been making CU. The additional engineers that we got, they're not being distracted because they wouldn't have been here to make CU. Linuxification, again, that's not a distraction. That's something we had to do. So is this a distraction in some ways? Well, of course. Again, to say anything else would just not be true. But on the other hand, the vast majority of it, again, was needed for CU. So, yeah, we've been working on two things at once, and one of them drove some decisions on things, decisions to speed up some things that wouldn't have been sped up. I think that's a fantastic trade-off, actually, mainly because it means I don't have to worry about it in 6 months. And I urge you to just think about how you would have felt if we went into beta 2 and you all were happy about where we were going. I said, sorry guys, time for Linuxification, and we have to take a big time out from that. You folks would have been livid with me. And it would have been, hey, MJ, why didn't you think of this earlier? Hey, MJ, why didn't you do this earlier? Hey, MJ, why are you always looking to delay things? And my answers would have been the same. We couldn't have started with Linux if we wanted to. Not if we were still wanted to use .NET and C Sharp. We would have had to do it during an even worse time. And now we've done it. We've continued on CU. We've made an additional game that you all are getting to play if you want. Sounds like an interesting way of being distracted.
A Phonic X is asking, how close are you guys to being finished with the technical / backend stuff required to support CU development?
So Linuxification, big deal, obviously. Auto scaling of servers, necessary as well. So many of the things.
Pathing at very large scale.
Pathing at very large scale. All this stuff is in either very good or great shape, and is almost in some cases, nothing that you do when it comes to building an engine really is ever done, or almost nothing. So, are we in launch shape for a lot of this stuff? Oh, we're getting damn close. So, Linuxification being, a good example of that. So, yeah, the major technical challenges, and just to be clear, the last major technical challenge that we had was, and we said this at the time, was building destruction. And we still need to improve that a little bit, but this stuff wasn't at that level. What we did then was something, again, no one else has done. Show me an engine that can take a 9.4 million block building, destroy it block by block, real time, network it, run everything on the server at that same time, and make it playable. No game can do that. Not with a stability system, not with physics on the server. Colossus is all on the server. So it's the same thing as CU in that makes it a lot harder, to hack. So, big technical challenges, there aren't any. Things that keep us up at night, we've already plowed through or plowing through. So we're really comfortable where we are, from that perspective. And this is not to say there's nothing we have to do technically, because that, you always have something else. But the things that would keep me or Andrew up at night or George up at night, no, those things, are gone or almost gone. So quite happy with that. And Colossus helped that. It really did.
Several people are asking, including Hetzcatlapoca, why couldn't you tell us about this when you started working on it instead of surprising us later?
Oh, don't you like surprises? No. Look, one really important reason, super important reason, we didn't know if we were going to be able to pull it off. So, when we pitched this to the investors, I told them I believed we could do it. I believed the engine could do it. Andrew believed the engine can do it. George believed the engine can do it. But you never know. This was pushing the ability system. As you could see, the abilities attack much faster, much broader kind of attacks. You saw, knockback that we talked about in our updates for CU. You saw a bit of ragdolling as we talked about it in our updates for CU. But we didn't know if we were going to be right. It's one thing when you have an established engine to say, oh yeah, we know the engine can do it. Now, because you have an established engine. We thought we could do it. We were pretty damn confident we could do it. We just didn't know 100%, because you never do. And that was one of the things I said to the investors was, look, we want to get to a first playable quickly to just be sure that we're right about the engine. And yep, we sped things up. We made attacks much faster than they were in CU, made it much more action-based. And so we then got more confident about it. Now, why didn't we tell you before now, and why did we surprise you? Well, that's really simple. So, look, I've said this before and I'll say it again. We have been sucky at deadlines. We just have been. And if I had said to you folks 5 months ago, hey, we're working on another game and it's going to be really cool. And for you PvE guys and gals, and keeping in mind that back in the Dayoc days, half of you folks were playing PvE and not RVRing. If I had said that, I think people would have been justified then in not only refunding even, more heavily, but looking at me like I was out of my friggin' mind. Because yes, this is a team that's really late. Now they're talking about making another game. Why should we believe them? Yeah, why should you? Wouldn't have blamed you one damn bit. Here it is, fait accompli. We've delivered on another game. It is a slice of a game, certainly, but it is a very different experience than CU, and it's working really, really well. You've seen it. That's why the surprise, because I wouldn't have believed me if I was some of you. Now, some of you who know me better because you've known me throughout the games, or some of you know me personally, sure, great. But a lot of you have no reason to trust that, and I didn't want to put yourselves or, quite frankly, me in that situation. And I'd rather, surprise you. I'd rather say, here's something cool. Here's something you can play. Here's something that you might actually enjoy. And this is something that, even if it's only mildly successful, helps see you. And it's not going to happen in 6 months. It's not going to happen in 6 years. It's happening now. Like I said, we've had backers playing this game for weeks, and the only reason we don't have more backers playing the game is simply because we don't want to have to manually spin up the servers. That would take an engineer's time, or Brian's time, and they have other things to do. We want to get that code in. We've been testing it. We're going to test it some more, and as soon as that's good to go, there'll be a lot more of you who are joining us in Ragnarok. And so, I think it was the right thing to do to surprise you. We certainly didn't lie about anything. Everything, if you look at the updates, everything we said was there, is there. The things that are for CU, they were real. It's whether we wanted to put up with, quite frankly, 5 months or 4 months of justifiable. Justifiable what? Skepticism is a good word. Or we could show you a product. We could show you what we've done. We could show you a working game. I wanted to do that because we hadn't been able to do something like this before. And so hopefully you like it. Again, hopefully you also like the approach. And the other thing is, even though we thought this was a really small chance, we told the investors that we might have to 86 it halfway through. If we weren't right about how the engine would hold up, if we weren't right about certain things, then we would have just told the investors, now we're going to just focus on CU. Fortunately, we didn't have to do that.
A bunch of people have come in and are asking if we're going to show gameplay of the new game.
Yeah, there were apparently somebody didn't read the email and posted 5 p.m. for the start time, even though I even had a countdown. So yeah, we can definitely show more video. Let me get through another few minutes of questions, and then we'll get some more people in the game.
Odelvik has been patiently. Oh, go ahead.
Hang on a sec. Maybe we'll also send a message. Hey, Tim, can you? Well, let's open up Wolf here to our, the Colossus IT folks, and we'll see if we can get some of them in. And if you could ask Brian to post a message on the forums, asking people to jump into Wolf here, tell them they'll be on TV. They'll be on the web, on the net. Photograph forever. Okay, go ahead. Let's get to Odelvik.
Odelvik has been patiently asking if there will be separate forums for Colossus, or if it will be part of the CU forums.
Well, right now they're separate. I assume we'll be bringing them in together, and based on whether you have a tier or not, you'll be able to go into either forum. Again, just to reiterate, all of our CU backers, as of 4 o'clock, will be getting a free copy of the game.
Of course, many people are asking when we will next have CU-specific news and gameplay.
Well, some of this is CU specific. I know it feels like it isn't, but it is. Linuxification is. NPCs is. All that stuff. It is both. I know it's hard to believe, but it is. It's the same engine. We've been saying this forever. So I know this feels like, oh my God, it's only Colossus, Colossus, Colossus. I need to be able to say Masha, Masha, Masha. But it isn't. It's both, guys and gals. It's the engine. All of this stuff is for, almost all the stuff that you have seen is for both games. So if we had done an update, if we hadn't done this today, the update would have focused on all of these, almost all of these same things as CU updates. We would have been touting the fact that we're on a CU, Linux server. We would have been touting the fact that NPCs are now working as we needed them to work. We would have been just going on and on about all these same things. It's all CU, it's all Colossus, because at the end of the day, it's all Unchained. It's all about the engine.
Well, we do have a question from Sacrex.
Thank you.
Sacrex asks, do you feel your trust has been eroded doing this? When you said no PvE, and because of that, it would help CU launch faster, but you made a different game about PvE.
Not one bit. I mean, would my trust have been eroded if while we're working on, let's say, CU launches and I make a PvE game? How is my trust eroded? This is not, the PvE aspect of this is not in CU. If we had made a mobile game at the same time, would somehow my trust be eroded? My trust would be eroded if I changed CU. If I said to you folks, hey, I know I promised that it would be RVR, but you know what? We thought about it. We saw how hard it was to make RVR work. And, we didn't realize that people actually were mean to each other in RVR. By the way, if this is supposed to remind you of what some other team recently said, it is intended. If I said that all to you, and then said, I'm sorry, guys, we're just making Colossus. Or, oh yeah, CU is no longer going to be an RVR game. Or if CU is now going to be half PvE and half RVR, then yeah, you would have a great reason to say that, Sacrex. And my trust would have been eroded. Look at my foundational principles. Where have I said, or we as a team have done anything to erode that? We've stuck to it. And not only have we stuck to it, we've stuck to it with a vengeance. I dare you to find another team out there who would have done and is doing for you guys what we are doing. I dare you. You won't. They don't exist. We're the only ones who have done something like this. Not only say you get a game, right? But say you also get credits for the game. And then if we're successful, you could even get money back for CU for this game. So, if you think that somehow that's eroding of trust, you're welcome to leave. We've said this before to you. That's why we have the refund policy. We're not, stopping that now either. So, if some people want to think that, this somehow erodes trust, you're entitled to your opinion. I will stand by what we've done as a team, and I will stand by even more what I've done as a president of a company. And that is to treat every single CU backer the way I want to be treated. And if you don't like it, again, Sacrex, you are, of course, as always, welcome to leave. But I don't think that the vast majority of people here are going to agree with that.
Some people, it's scrolling by so fast, are saying, follow your heart, Mark. McCavity asks, Colossus gameplay looks 100 times more smooth and enjoyable overall compared to what we have seen from CU for some years. Does this mean that CU will have that same smoothness and similar gameplay eventually?
Andrew's standing up, so I think he has something to say about this. So, welcome Andrew Meggs, co-founder.
Yeah, Mark's not like. This has been the thing that drove putting the screws to the engine.
A little more to the left, Andrew.
Okay, this has been
There
the
you go.
thing that drove putting the screws to the engine, and a lot of I's that were undotted and T's that were uncrossed are just beautifully done now. CU, the frame rate is 30 to 70% faster than it was a week ago. The level of hitching when large amounts of stuff spawns in CU is massively reduced compared to just a couple of weeks ago. Like, I am unbelievably I am very proud of the work that I got to do. It's next level, and it's for CU. Like, CU is every single bit of smoothness from this is in CU. In fact, I actually did most of the development over on CU. Like, it's all one branch in Git. It's not, oh, now I'm going to go over and work on this game. It's just kind of another mode of CU. It's a scenario. And so, I can honestly say I have written less than 10 lines of code that were not also in CU. So there, and CU is better for the, things that we would have done later got pulled up as it happens, and, CU is better.
And again, thank you, Andrew. That is so, so important. I know it's hard for some of you to, not to understand, because it's not a question of whether you're smart enough to understand it, but to really just understand how engines work. This is all the engine. All the things that Andrew was talking about is the engine. So it doesn't matter whether it's Colossus or CU, or Star Wars or anything else we could do in this engine. It's all this is to the engine. So CU has benefited so much by it. Look at when you saw the gameplay and you saw 1,000 NPCs running around and particle effects going off, and then think about the Cherry Keep. And you've seen that. And you've seen the performance there. Now you're seeing the performance here with 1,000 NPCs with lots of things going off and the stuff in the sky. And the performance is a lot better. Hugely better. This is all for CU too. And that's the best part of this. I mean, that really is. And I know it's hard, especially because some of you might want to be angry, especially at me right now. And that's okay. It really is. But understand that everything we did, everything, almost everything. Sorry, there are some bits that aren't for CU. But almost everything we did is to the benefit of CU. The only things that aren't, they're not against CU, but they're not going to help, CU one bit when we have concept art for champions. And it's not going to help CU. But everything else does. And that is so, so important. That's why we're so confident. That's why the investors put in money. If they thought that we had to stop CU or this was going to hurt CU, then they would have to look at this and go, so you want to make another game, but we're going to have to stop CU, and you already have backers for that game, but you don't have any backers for the new game. Why should we do that? Yeah, that would have been a really smart thing for them to say. But that's why we did what we did first. That's why the producers then spec'd everything out and worked with Andrew and George and the rest of the team to try to lay out what we thought we would need. So, like I said, this is so important for CU's success. And if you have even if you have any doubts, just look at Linuxification and look at engine performance and remember the performance the last time you were in CU. Just remember that. And now look at what you just saw, because that's what you're going to see in CU as well. Okay, so why don't we jump in? Give me a moment. I'm going to go and get some more gameplay up and then see if we need some additional people to join.
I'm going to shrink you, Mark.
Okay. Hey, Mike,
Yeah,
are you in?
I can be.
Yep. Could you join me and Wolf here, please? Hey, Ben?
Yep.
Would you mind joining me, please?
Want another?
Sure. We may have two scenarios running. We'll see. All right. So more questions as we play a little bit of Final Stand.
Whew.
And once again, this is Ayala, the Amazon Archer.
Some people want to know where they can read more about this.
We'll be starting a website and other things when we get a little bit further along. Right now, excuse me. Right now, we wanted to give our CU backers first shot at this. And so you folks will be coming in as soon as, like I said, this week. Check this out. I mean, 500 NPCs, all running at 10 players in the game. Look at how smooth it is. Look at the frame rate.
The Jag P is asking, so will all of this beautiful tech appear in CU?
Every single bit of the tech, almost every single bit. There's probably some bits that aren't, but all the important tech is for both games. You know, whether it is the NPCs, whether it's all their attacks, whether it's, you know, what Andrew was referring to with his work on particle effects. Uh-oh, looks like the server's not happy. We're definitely having a little bit of warping here. Tim? Thank you. We've been having trouble with the patch server today. It's very possible that something bad just happened with it. Yeah, I think it's recovered. Well, it's recovered. So, yeah, I mean, again, almost all of this tech is going to be used in CU. And certainly all the important tech is going to be used in CU.
Second Mate Snag asks, will Colossus/Ragnarok have leaderboards/scoreboards to entertain competitive players with killing the most mobs, doing the most damage, or building the most constructs?
Hell yes. That was part of my initial vision document for it. We're already tracking that. We will have that will absolutely be part of the game. And look, an important part. It's a different game than CU.
Toloyan says, this isn't a game for me, but I can understand how this helps with CU, and that what you see here is basically CU tech with other art on top.
You know, I couldn't have said it better myself. That is indeed what you're seeing. It's all the Unchained engine. It's things pushing, as Andrew says, pushing things harder and harder. The NPCs. Uh, let me look at this crazy number of NPCs we got coming up. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, go ahead.
Rock Pybex asks, could you explain more of the UI? Is it just spamming mouse?
Oh, God, no. Right now I'm using a controller. So we've got trigger buttons have abilities. Triggers have abilities. Buttons have abilities. Obviously, movement. Keys. X to pick up. Y to drop. A to jump. B to use your ultimate ability. Right now it is just using all the different abilities you have in combination, to have the best success. But we will be adding real combos to it, hopefully next month.
Dino626 asks, is the main objective of the game to defend that tower, or will there be a further objective as the game goes on? Will there be different maps and scenarios to play on?
Oh my God, yes. This is just one. So what you're seeing here from this defense tower there to the central tower, get to other areas, to the other parts of this map, this is only one small part of the entire scenario. So yes, we will be having a lot more maps, a lot of different things to do. This was, again, just what we've done in the 4.5 months. So there's another defense tower there. And we'll be adding more defense towers. We'll have archery towers. We'll have other sorts of things that will be useful for CU. And this will give you an idea of the map. And for those who are just coming in, so we're already tracking things, as you can see on the screen right now. Kill streaks, kills, longest life, total damage, damage taken. And we'll be tracking more things, as we move forward. I'll get another scenario started. Was there anything that you saw, Tim, going on?
Yeah.
Do we need to do something?
Unsure. Looking into it.
Okay. Well, I'll get another scenario started in the meantime.
AI Sense asks, what is Overmind actually doing? How is it affecting the game?
That's a great question. So Overmind does a lot of things. So Overmind is what sets up the NPCs. It's what sets up the logic for them, for when towers, can be attacked, objectives. It has spawners. It sets the rate, the drop rate. It can set difficulty levels. It can make decisions based on how we program it about what to do if players are being too successful or if players aren't being successful enough. Think of it as a scripting engine, on steroids. Because but that's also easy to use. When I envisioned Overmind, my thought was, as it is a lot, to be honest, is to find a way of using a spreadsheet to do things that would normally take a true scripting language. Now, I have no problem with scripting languages because, ex-programmer, so I'm fine with that. But I wanted something that, designers who would come in, and not Ben, because Ben has, been working in XML, and if you can survive working in XML in our ability system, you can really survive anything. But other designers might not be as skilled as he is. And so coming in and using a scripting language is difficult. And by the way, a lot of the people you see in this game, if you're on our forums, you'll recognize some of their names. Most of the people in here now are not CSE folks, but they're our backers. When I said I was looking for volunteers, well, here are some of them. But Overmind does all of that. Overmind is also going to be doing a lot more as we move forward. And so I'm playing around now with, having Overmind itself scale up the difficulty, based on what you folks like. So if you feel like playing a more difficult version of the game, that Overmind can automatically scale it up for you. Eventually, of course, we'll have things that are, a bit more tuned by the designers. But even just, hey, tonight you feel like playing this on super hard mode, and we can do that. And I'd love to be able to have it, done programmatically, at least in the beginning, because especially when you're still working on things, spending a lot of time. I love the knockback when it works like that. On these special scripts and all that. The more reuse you can get out of them, the better. So I started messing with that just a few days ago.
Oh, a lot of people want to make sure that you can play with mouse and keyboard and not.
Absolutely, absolutely. Like I said, we want. So when we started doing this, I said that I wanted everyone or almost everyone to play on a controller, because frankly, if you play on a keyboard at first, you then tend to make design decisions for that keyboard, and then it can be harder to port that game to a console. Whereas if you start with a controller, then well, you know what device you're going to be using on the consoles, but it's easier then to add more functionality for the keyboard. So, you can use a keyboard and mouse, you can use a controller, you can use both at the same time if you want. It's all designed, to work that way. I mean, I'm running back on the keyboard and shooting off my on the gamepad. I'm on the controller and shooting off my keyboard. So it doesn't matter.
Logic Tree Live asks, where is this game releasing? Most, if not all, CU backers are PC players. Steam, direct download.
So when we release the first version of it, we will be doing it for now by ourselves off our website. Eventually, I would assume it would be on Steam and or the Epic Store, but we haven't made any decision on that yet. Certainly, again, at first though, we'll just be selling it off our website
For PC.
for PC. Yes, console coming later. Hi, Apollon. Whee!
Ghost Eye asks, do you think we might get a mode for this where you start your progression from scratch with each round? I find that type of gameplay really compelling. Thanks.
We are interested in making this a really cool game, and we will look at various things that we can do to make it a very cool game. So could we do something like that? Absolutely. I mean, look, this is just like CU. When we went into CU, I said that there were some things that were absolutely foundational principles for the company and for the game. And as you folks who've been backers a long time know, we've kind of stuck to that. But I also said we would, cut out some things if we thought they weren't fun. And so the body part system, where I wanted it to be more complicated than it currently is, that's one example of my willingness to say, yeah, I thought it was a good idea at the time, but with all the different health locations and making it a bit more complicated. But you know what? It wasn't looking good. It was looking to be more of a pain in the ass than it was to be fun. And it's the same thing here. If there's a way to make this a better game that more people enjoy, great. I'm up for it. I certainly do not know everything. I certainly don't know everything about this type of game. So we will do what we have been doing on our website. On our forums. And that is to listen to you folks, to talk to you about things, and see what the reaction is. Going to start one more scenario.
Logic Tree Live wants to know, do you know roughly when we should have access to this game being shown?
So if all goes well with auto scaling, then next week we'll start to bring in more people. And if not, we'll bring in a smaller number of new people, but we'll do it like we've been doing it now, manually, where we'll be looking for people to tell us on the forums or send us an email that they want in on the testing, and we'll limit it to a certain number of people. But we're hoping that we get the auto scaling code, working nicely and safely by then, so we can just open the doors. Because as you can see from the gameplay, we're there. This is working. We don't have to, worry about, oh my God, are the abilities even going to work when you have, 10 people, or what is it going to be like? The network when we have that. This is here. It's running. It's running beautifully. And so, we hope to move through the tiers very quickly, with this, very quickly.
Follow-up question. When will there be a mass release of a website for this game?
When we're ready to start inviting people in, most likely, who are outside CU backers. I really wanted to focus on getting a good game first. I just set a trap there. I don't want that yet. Can you see we're setting up barricades here? Another trap. Oops. Didn't mean to do that. Come on, get up there. Set a trap there. So, yeah. I expect it won't be long till a lot of you are playing the game and not just handfuls.
People are asking, or have asked, will there be PvP modes in this game?
Eventually, maybe, but not right now. We're focusing on what we've told people, which is PvE. Could we have some demos of what our engine can do with different modes? Sure. I mean, it's really easy for us. I know it sounds like, oh my God, he's saying, look at what their engine can do and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I kind of am, because it is. I mean, right now, we could bring in as many people realistically as we want to, other than we have to make sure that the UI doesn't break. So, could we then turn on friendly fire? Sure. Not hard. So, we'll see. But this is really important. And that is, when we went into this, one of the things I said to the investors is that we didn't want to make a game that was going to take away from CU. You guys have faith in us to make a great CU game. And that's why this isn't a PvP game. That's why this isn't a raid-based, or not a raid-based, sorry, a tri-realm raid, somehow tri-realm raiding game where you're fighting, other factions. Easy to do, like really easy to do. But that wouldn't be fair to the CU folks. So we figured doing this, fair to CU folks, fair to people who don't have any interest in RVR, but we will have modes just to show off the engine about what we can do, because that'll be fun as heck too. I mean, look at this performance, folks. All those NPCs.
Folks, please no more of that spam message. I have read it. And I'm going to start timing out people who continue to copy-paste it.
What are people spamming, Max?
Mark, the majority of your OG backers probably envisioned an MMORPG similar to Daok, but with a new and improved engine. What they are seeing today is nothing even remotely close to it. What do you have to say to the die-hard Daok fans that wanted a competitive GVG, group versus group RVR game? I mean, I think this is really what the OG backers expected. The rivalry between guilds.
Okay, I get it. So that's a perfectly, so Max, that's a perfectly fine and fair question. So, look, first of all, I apologize. I didn't see that question. Obviously, I'm playing the game. And I think that's a really fair question. So, to you guys, I say, look at what we're doing here. Look at everything you're seeing in terms of performance, everything you're seeing in terms of setting up matches. You guys want an old school Dark Age game. You know what we are pitching, what we pitched, what we're building. You're going to get that. But look at what you have here in front of you. The tech that we need to do that. The Linuxification. The performance. When you guys, especially you old school Dark Age guys, remember what it was like? 2 frames a second, in RVR? Or even when machines got better and performance still, could be tough. Look at what you're seeing here. So, I know this isn't the game you wanted, but this game isn't replacing CU. The tech, though, that is driving this is everything you needed and that we needed to make those dreams, of a group versus group game come true. And we're going to have modes in this game or in this engine that will help test that. And things like the matchmaking that we have already will allow us to do that. You know how it was. If you played in any of the scenarios so far, in CU, you saw there was no control of the number of people who would come in or from the realm that they would come in. We're getting that stuff now, and we're going to be getting more of that stuff. So, you could look at this and say, okay, this isn't what we want, and you're not going to, Mark, you're not going to deliver on CU. But that's not true. It couldn't be farther from the truth. This is what you need, so much of this is what you needed for CU. You needed everything. Look at just this fight. Look at the NPCs. Look at their tracking. Look at how they will move, around and over obstacles. That was part of, even if it's a group game, we still had guards in CU. We still had Dark Age. We still had the depths in CU, the depths in, sorry, I've been talking for a while. We still had all the things that we had in Dark Age. And now these things for CU are coming true. The Linuxification is coming true. The smart NPCs who have different behaviors. Some of these folks, as you can see, these guys, the Dishonored Dead, they're going to the objective. That's their first behavior. But then, if you start to get close to them, or you attack them, they'll change their behavior. We needed that for CU as well. And these things were part, whether it was of Darkness Falls or of the Depths. So, if you look at it that way and look at it the way that the investors put in additional money to help deliver, this to you folks through us, and that this is going to help CU, I can't honestly see how you really couldn't look at this as positive for both CU and for Colossus. I mean, look at this. Look at the projectiles. Look at how well they're tracking. Look at how I'm running through them, and you're seeing that. All this is part of CU. So, look, we would have loved to deliver on CU before now. No, let me tell you, there's nobody who wishes it more than me, because so much of my personal money is in this company. I want to deliver CU. I want to deliver Colossus. And what you're seeing here is going to allow us to do it better and faster than it would have it would have been otherwise. And if you don't even believe that, because for whatever reason you just don't think we're telling the truth, just look at plain math. We're a bigger team than we would have been. So if you just just do it by that and go, wow, they're bigger. Look at how much tech they created in such a short period of time. Yeah, that's kind of going to help CU. So, look, I will not betray the Dark Age people. You folks back this game, and look at what we're doing with the 4 pillars of monetization for this game. If you have any doubt, I mean, literally, if you have any doubt of our good intentions, why would we do that? I could have very easily said, you know what, we're not going to give you guys anything. We'll give you a discount. We didn't do that. Frankly, we probably would have made more money not doing that, because some of you would have absolutely bought this game and would be paying for the servers. But you're not. We are. And so, disappointment, sure, I understand that. But just look at, I've always said that actions speak, louder than words. Not my quote, obviously, but, it's true. Which is why we haven't hyped this until now. Why we haven't said things until now. And why, when push comes to shove, when it's right now where I could have said, no, this is a separate game, sorry, folks. And some of you may have refunded. A lot of you would have said, okay, that's fine. I'll just buy this new game too. But I'm not even giving you that opportunity. We're putting you in a position where you don't have to buy it. So, does that mean you don't have a right to be disappointed? No, if you are, you have every right if you want to be. But what you must accept is that our intentions are good, because we didn't have to do this. We didn't have to give you folks a single thing, not legally, not even morally. Developers develop new games all the time. Developers develop games when they're working on other games. We just said we're going to be a little different, as we usually are. And we hope you appreciate that. And I don't mean appreciate in the sense of, oh, we want cards or letters, or we want you to think we're such nice guys. But no, it would be nice if you do, but you don't have to send cards and letters. But just to know that, yeah, we're trying to do the right thing. And the fact that we got the investors to put in additional money, what more proof do you need? And if you need even more proof, just look at the updates. Those are things we've been doing. There have been just CU things as well. So we didn't have to do that. We could have just said we're stopping work on CU. I mean, if you go back to the Kickstarter, we said we'd keep offering refunds until we stopped work on CU. Well, we could have just said we stopped work on CU, and legally we'd be within our rights just to say, okay, we're done. But we didn't do that. So, up to you folks. I hope you'll, look at the big picture. I hope you'll look at what we've been doing for CU. I hope you look at what we're doing for Colossus. I hope you look at performance. I hope you look at all the things that are already better for CU. And over the next couple of months, you'll see them all, all the things you're seeing in Colossus in terms of performance, in terms of getting things, smoother. You'll see that all in CU as well. Then you can decide for yourself, if we're, full of crap or not. Go ahead, Max.
Just Let Me Watch It asks, when will we see similar demos of CU with all these new improvements available?
So Ben will be working on the new scenario for CU next month. Well, yeah, next month. Today's the 31st. So we're going to start to push this stuff into a scenario. Ben's excited, I know, about using Overmind to design the next scenario for CU. I'm excited about that as well. I'll be tweaking things, and making my own scenarios or own versions of these scenarios. We have more assets coming in. You saw things like the snow monsters we've talked about will be useful for both games. So, expect to see this, for both CU and Colossus going the rest of the year, and hopefully well beyond that as well.
Isanaris asks, can you give us more information on how this scenario will be in CU? Will it be PvE mobs?
It'll be a combination of PvP and PvE mobs. Depends how many of you folks we can get to play in the scenario. We'd love to be able to do home invasion, which could have PvE, but also joined by players from the other realms. It'll be up to you folks. The thing about this is we can't force you people to come in and test with us during the week or on the weekend. But now we have a way with this new tech of running, or once it's auto scaling is working properly. And when I say that, just so you know, this is never in any way to denigrate the engineers. This is all new tech. We are literally building so much of this, from scratch. We hadn't needed it before. So when I say when it's working, it's because it hasn't been written. So it's being written as we speak. All of this is ongoing stuff. But it's really, this stuff is all going to be really useful for that. And again, look at what the question that was just asked before about, small group combat. Now we can do that. Once we customize it for CU, we'll do it on a realm basis. And it's just going to speed things up, folks. I know it's hard to see, but it will. I guarantee it will. And I don't guarantee a lot of things, but I'm just so happy that Linuxification is almost behind us, and all the performance improvements we've gotten, and NPC, the base NPC performance is behind us. So, God, so many things that are so important to CU are either done or on the way to being done.
Lomesh asks, will efforts be taken to try and attract the new audience for this game into CU when it releases?
Well, that's part of my hope. I mean, look, I said this before, and this is from the Dark Age days, that the majority of people who were playing Dark Age played both, PvE and RVR. And as the game aged, almost 50 or more, depending on the month, people were only playing PvE. So do we hope to attract more people into CU because of this? Oh, hell yes. I mean, absolutely. We'd love it to go both ways. People who might not have been interested, in CU, who might now be interested in this game. And now people who were playing this game might give CU a shot. So, we hope that they really do help each other.
Swordplay wants to know if Ben and Andrew will be doing an interview about the development of this game. Curious to hear their insight on the game, how it will take shape, and how work on it will flow back into CU.
Sure, we can do that. We can make that happen.
Salidri asks, after seeing how well, oh man, it's scrolling fast. After seeing how well your engine can handle faster combat, are there any plans to speed up CU combat? Or was that never a factor in the slow pace of CU?
Oh, God, never a factor in CU. We looked at our target audience, the guys who were playing Dark Age, and the kind of game Dark Age was, and Warhammer, as well. Obviously not the same, but a lot, not as fast as this game. And we're making CU based on what we thought the vast majority of our backers wanted. And if that's still the case, and we have no reason to think otherwise, no, we're not going to speed things up. But it does allow us to do some things, if we wanted to, that are faster than we currently do in CU. And as I said, about an hour ago, at this point, we weren't sure about how well the engine would handle it. We thought it would handle it just fine. But when you're our kind of engine where you're doing things with the server, being authoritative and making sure that what we're doing is not hackable, unless you can hack the server, of course, then, you don't know until you're absolutely sure, because you've actually done it in the game, that what you want to do with it will work. Well, now we know it will, and we know that the engine can handle even faster attacks. So.
S40 Word asks, have you done adequate market research? I'm not interested in mobile games, but I am concerned that this MOBA will cost more in initial resources / CE refunds than you will make.
I would be very surprised if we had a ton of refunds for it, mainly because, again, this is going to speed up CU. All the things that we've been doing for this game are going into CU. We're giving away the game to CU backers. So, you know, if all of a sudden everyone refunded CU, sure, that would be bad. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't see why it would happen. Since, again, we're pushing CU at the same time. And the fact that we, the investors, put in our own money to build this, for all of last year, that should give you guys an idea of how seriously we treat what we've been doing with CU and Colossus.
Lodeween asks, after 6.5 years of focusing on CU, it is certainly understandable that you found relief in another game, even if it is a spin-off. Has this refreshed you over the last 6 months, and can you see yourself continuing to work for more years than you could 6 months ago?
Well, that is a really interesting question. So, has this been refreshing in some ways for myself and members of the team? I would say yes. Certainly on my part. Could I see myself doing more now than I would have 6 months ago? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. This has been good for us. It's been good for the team as a whole. It's been good for the engine as a whole. I think it's been great for CU. And yeah, I am quite excited about what we're going to be able to do. Super excited. And I think as a lot of our CU backers play this game, they'll get excited as well because, again, it's helping them. It's helping them hopefully have fun. At the same time, it's helping CU. So, big win.
Man, I should have saved that one. Let's see. A lot of people are asking if the different art style splits focus and other creative split focus.
Well, no, like I said, we have additional artists here who wouldn't have been here without the investors. So, is there a little bit of a split? Of course, but we have additional artists we wouldn't have had here otherwise. So it's all for the win. I mean, I know it sounds like a bit of a broken record now when I say things like this, but look, we're a bigger team now. We have more engineers. We have more artists. We get to do more things because we have more engineers and more artists. And, I urge people to look at the next few months and see what we're going to be coming out with for both games. And then you can make your decision if, you think we're right or not. But look at what we've delivered. While we've been working on CU, while we've been bringing new people on board, look at how many new things we've added and have delivered on in this very short amount of time.
AI Sense asks, seeing how this game has NPCs attacking structures, will there be NPCs attacking our forts to occupy them too in CU in the future, like for Tabula Rasa?
There you go. I mean, look at what you just saw. Look at the different behaviors for NPCs. This is, again, all this stuff is stuff you're absolutely going to see in CU and that we needed for CU. Think about the depths. What would the depths be if the NPCs were as dumb as rocks or even only somewhat smart? You're going to see a lot of abilities in Colossus that will be absolutely used in CU. So, whether it's things like attacking structures or defending their lairs within the depths or other things that they're going to be used for, we've got that tech now, and we didn't have that tech 6 months ago. And it's just going to get better. We've got some people who are actually not only really interested in working on that kind of stuff, but who are really good at it too.
Um, Pax Ataxio asks, what will happen to CU if, against all odds, Ragnarok fails?
We'll still make CU. I mean, yeah, the one I've said, I said this, I think, in the interview at Massively. If this had failed because, the engine was terrible, it couldn't support 2 players, let alone 10 players, or it couldn't support thousands of NPCs like we said it could, that would be a whole different story. Then the investors would be looking at me like, what's up with that? That's one thing. Now, obviously, you can do that. It's running great. No one knows whether a game will succeed or fail. I mean, there have been games that people have spent tons of money on that don't succeed and didn't succeed. There have been games that have been small investments that succeeded very well. The investors understood this going in. They wouldn't have understood if I had lied to them or we had lied to them about what the engine could do and whether we could deliver on fun gameplay. We've been sending videos to them, if not every day, almost every day, on the progress of the game. They've literally been seeing video after video after video of how the game has been improving over time. And so, when you take a shot at a creative venture, you can fail. Even Steven Spielberg, one of the most talented directors of his time, had a not successful film. So, you never know. But the important bit was they saw the development, they saw the improvement, they saw that the engine could do exactly what we said it could do, and that, has made them very happy.
A lot of people want to know if we have something to show related to CU or CU gameplay.
Well, you just saw a lot of it. I mean, honestly, folks, look at what you just saw. You saw abilities firing off faster than they have in CU. You saw Linuxification. You saw, pathfinding. I know you want to see some specific things about CU right now. Look at what you just saw. You just did that. You just saw the things we have been promising you. Look at all the updates we've done. And look at how we've talked about so many of these things. And they're in there right now and they're working. So you are seeing CU. You are absolutely seeing parts of CU. You're not seeing the CU art, but you are seeing the engine. You're seeing, and especially here, again, look at the NPCs, look at the performance, so for those of you who were in any of our, last tests with CU, performance had regressed. We were very aware of that. And now look at the performance in this game. Look at how many NPCs and different NPCs and buildings and structures and effects are firing off. You're now seeing CU improvements because that is all stuff that is code. Therefore, it's CU.
Scrolling fast. Logic Tree Live. What is the marketing plan to ensure that CU will have the player base to justify the tech investment made for scale?
You mean CU, not Colossus, right? He said CU. Same thing that we've said from the past. We're going to be building it up. We're going to wait till we get closer to launch, and then, of course, we're going to spend more on advertising. But there's no point in doing it now. Same with Colossus, and we hope that Colossus will be, or Ragnarok will be, a good intro to CU to all the people who we hope play Colossus.
Many people have asked, why do we need to do the tech in Colossus first rather than CU first?
Because otherwise the investors wouldn't have given us the extra money. It's really that simple. You know, if I'd gone to the investors and said, hey, we need additional money for CU to speed up the game, well, they could have said no. They were like, look, you've had enough. You know, keep working, and you know, maybe we'll give you a little bit more for the team, but maybe not. On the other hand, when you say, look, we have another game that we can create, we hope we will bring in and think it will bring in some additional money to the studio, and the tech that we build for it will be used in CU. That became a much easier sell. So, look, in a perfect world, we would have been able to do that for CU, but you know, this was a much, much easier sell.
McCavity wants to know, who are the investors? Is it private people or a company?
Private people. The same folks who invested, and besides myself, same folks who invested in us a couple years ago. And, you know, it was, we went back to them and said, look, this is what we got, and you guys want to, you know, kick in some more. I kicked in some more, and we made the game.
Diodenosis asks, the investors would rather give more money for an unfounded project than what they initially invested in?
No, they saw a chance to speed up both the delivery of CU and to create another game that could be delivered even before CU. CU is a very complicated game, duh. That's what we've been saying for years. It is a lot deeper than this game is. It has 3 realms. It has all the things that we need to do for it. This is a much simpler game. And so the money that we have spent in this period of time wouldn't have allowed us, even if we had gotten the extra people, it still wouldn't have allowed us to deliver CU today. We wouldn't be sitting here with, hey, we're almost done with CU. Just again, look at look at the Linuxification, look at the NPCs, look at the time we've spent on it. So even if we had said to the investors, hey, give us extra so we'll build up the team even more, we would still be about where we are today. Would we have more classes in? Absolutely. No question about it. Would we have had more CU gameplay? Absolutely. But we wouldn't have been further along in other ways because we wouldn't have spent the time on getting some other things done that we got done that we needed for Colossus. We wouldn't have spent as much time probably on the NPCs. We probably wouldn't have done Linuxification yet. So, you know, if in the worst case scenario we had failed with this, yeah, that would have hurt CU. We didn't fail. We succeeded. We delivered in less than 6 months a totally different experience than CU. We've expanded the engine's capabilities tremendously. We've improved performance tremendously. We've brought on some new people who have been major additions to the team. We have delivered on things that are going to make the rest of the development cycle for CU even easier. And I haven't said that before. I'm saying it now. Up to you what you all think of it.
Some people are hopping into chat to let you know that the Massively OP article had really good information.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, as usual, Massively sent a bunch of interesting questions. And as you can see, they didn't pull punches, long-suffering fan base and all that. You know, I'm glad that they asked the questions that they did. I mean, I like, you know, it's 2 hours and 17 minutes and I'm still talking. happy to take hard questions. I told massively that. I'm not I'm not much on shying from the truth. So, hopefully you all appreciate that as well. We didn't have to do things this way. We really didn't. And probably in some ways it might have been smarter not to do things this way. And I don't mean making Colossus, just the things we've done for our backers or the way we are doing things right now. I know every word that I am saying is being recorded. And so this interview is going to last forever. And, you're not going to find many people in my position who are willing to stick their own neck as well as their own money, even when they have a hell of a lot more than I do, on the line the way I do, and way I've always done. And so, I hope you guys and gals stick with us. I hope you give Colossus a chance. I hope you continue to believe in CU, because everyone here does. The investors do. And we didn't have to. And that's so important. There was nothing that would have stopped us from simply turning off CU and going, we're just going to make Colossus. Other studios have done that. We didn't. We doubled down. And, that's what you got to ask yourself. What does that show about our commitment, or whether we should be committed or not, to CU, to CSE, to Colossus, and to you, our backers? Look at the other, and I don't mean any disrespect. I really don't, to other developers when I say things like this. But the bottom line is, who else talks? How many other developers talk to you in this way? And tell you things that we tell you, that sit here for hours taking your questions directly, not pre-screened. Hopefully you all, like I said, will be, thinking about that and looking at the commitment that we have made and continue to make for CU.
I'm going to phrase this as a question. Dress Tina wants to know if it's that a big fish investor jumped the line and got their game before the rest of us.
Oh God, no. Like I said, I'm one of the investors, folks. This was an opportunity and is an opportunity to speed up both games. We wouldn't have done Colossus, if I hadn't had the idea for it. But the fact is, if we had waited and not done Colossus, we wouldn't have gotten the additional money, which has helped speed up CU. Period. There can be no dispute about that, because we're doing the over there, please. Not over here. Thank you. Because we're doing Linuxification. Yeah, that may be too loud.
Yeah.
Hang on a sec. Sorry, guys. Hey, I'm sorry.
Vacuuming tonight.
Yeah,
No
it will still be too loud.
Thank you.
So we wouldn't have done it. We wouldn't have done Colossus, which means Linuxification would have taken longer, and NPCs would have taken longer, and matchmaking would have taken longer, and so many things would have taken longer. And let's say that we were sitting here, today, and we had said, oh, look at the progress on CU. And it wasn't enough. If you had thought, wow, you worked for the last 6 months, Mark, and your team hasn't really gotten as far as we thought, you would have even less reason to believe in us. Instead, what we showed you is how we have moved forward so many things already, and we've told you about the progress in Linuxification. We've showed you the game, running. We had our own backers. Those were backers you saw, not CSE people in the last test. So we've done all that. We've showed this all to you. And so, nobody, jumped the line. It's just, again, that Colossus is a lot simpler game. If we launch with 12 champions and, a few hours or multiple hours of scenarios with different settings, that's a fraction of the content that we needed for CU. And the champions are easy. Gosh, compared to a CU character. Look at what you guys have with the ability system alone, let alone the crafting systems and all that. So, nobody jumped the line. If anything, like I said, they helped speed up, both lines.
Terrakill asks, how can you make so much progress on Colossus in 6 months, but zero progress on CU? I'm very confused.
We didn't make zero progress on CU. Please look at what you just saw. So if you want to look at progress, for CU, what would it be? Well, you've seen that we pushed ahead with some classes. You've seen our updates. So everything that was in the updates is true. So you've seen, sorry, I've just got people asking, hey, how's it going, Mark? I'm still talking. So back to, the progress. If you look at CU and go, what progress has there been made? Well, obviously, we've been working on classes where you've seen that. In this game, with Colossus, you've seen performance improvements. That was CU as well. You've seen Overmind. That's CU as well. All of that was controlled via Overmind. You've seen, albeit simple, matchmaking. That's also useful for CU. You've seen the beginning, even though there's nothing really to see from your side, the beginning of the auto-scaling code. That's for CU. You've seen the Sky Bowl and the Sky Dome. You look at the background that we have. That's for CU as well. It won't look like that, but it's going to use the same tech. You've seen the dragon, no longer a kite, and that's just first pass. You've seen the towers that we use in Colossus to defend the town and other areas. That's for CU. So when you say we've made no CU progress, I say we've made a lot of CU progress. Because every one of those things, every single one that I just mentioned, is all for CU as well. And if we hadn't announced Colossus, let's say we didn't do this today. We didn't announce Colossus. Instead, we just put out an update listing all of these things. Not one of you would have said, you didn't make any progress on CU. You'd all be going, yeah, look at all that progress. So that's the hard, I know, thing to understand, especially if you weren't here for the whole, which I wouldn't blame you. It's 2 hours and 25 minutes chat. All of what I just mentioned and so much more is CU progress. Close your eyes. Forget about Colossus. Just think of those things that I mentioned. And if we had put out an update that said, here's what we have accomplished in the last 6 months, there was a lot of progress being made there. Most, if not all of you, would have said. Now, you would have also asked, hey, where's more classes, et cetera, and you'd be right. But all this other stuff, you guys would have went, all right, fantastic. Linuxification, you're running a game server under Linux already? Fantastic. Oh, you got matchmaking working? Fantastic. Oh, you've almost got auto-scaling working. And it is working on the small scale. We just haven't been able to scale it, up yet. Not because the tech has failed, just because we haven't got enough people in yet. All of that is progress for CU. Every single thing. So I much prefer to look at it as it's progress for CU. And if you still somehow dispute it, just ask yourself, well, if it wasn't done now, when would it have been done? So, that's why it counts for both.
Logic Tree Live asks, if this game drastically increases CU progress, how can you not quantify the estimated % completion of CU currently?
Because I haven't had the producers do that. I mean, it's the same thing when we went into development for this. Producers have to sit down with engineers and artists and lay everything out. Now, that takes time. Sorry. And that takes time. So, yeah, we could do that, but there's no point right now simply because that number will change. As I said with the third point, in terms of, what you backers get, if this game is successful, we get more engineers and artists, and that means more content. Now, maybe it means sped up content only, or it means some extended content gets put in because now we have more people to do it. So, again, I can say this, slightly different way, but frankly, I can't think of any other way other than to say, look, we've been pushing forward with both games and have now almost eliminated, in some cases, eliminated a bunch of things that we needed for CU. They're done. And the rest of it will be done really soon. And I don't mean soonish. I mean, like, hopefully in the next couple of weeks done.
Lomesh asks, would it be possible to implement a quick and dirty version of Cube into this, allowing players to quickly build their own fortifications to defend from?
We thought about that. When we started work on Colossus, we had a decision to make. Do we use Cube or do we use, artist-built assets? And the consensus was we were better off using artist-built assets than using Cube. One, for the look. As cool as Cube is, it's still Cube. And we wanted to have a more stylized, version. One of the investors asking, how am I doing? Let me text him and say, I'm still talking. So hang on a sec. Done. Okay. I don't think I said I thought we'd be done at 6, but since we have so many questions, I'm willing to stay here longer. Will Q be working with this? Absolutely. Absolutely. That, again, if you go back to what I said earlier about the NPC pathfinding, that was being done initially for CU because, again, with Cube, you guys and gals can build any kind of structure you want, which means the NPCs have to be a lot smarter, and you can't use all the old methods and techniques necessarily for pathfinding. You have to have smarter pathfinding. So that's one of the reasons it's taken longer, because it's not the typical, okay, you know how the level is laid out, and there can't be anything other than the level. And therefore, you can teach the NPCs to be smarter and move around a map better. We have barricades. We have other things that will slow down or stop NPCs, in Colossus. So they need to be a little smarter than that. But CU, they have to be even smarter because you could throw down things anywhere. So, things just had to be done, both for CU and Colossus, and they've been getting done. And been getting done again really, really well.
Dakin and others are asking if there will be a dev roadmap, because it is really important that you show people the roadmap and some details of the scale and scope of the project.
Hell yes. That's why we're not going out. That's one of the reasons we're not going out yet and asking anybody else to buy a tier. This is just, for you guys and gals right now. By the time we put up a store or when we're ready to sell this, then we will have a roadmap. And you couldn't be more right about how important that is. Super important. So thank you for that.
Speaking of a store, some people are asking about microtransactions. How much will the game cost?
Oh my God, I can't wait to put loot crates in because, the surprise mechanics. Oh my God, that's fantastic. So, yeah, not so much. The game will depend. So with the price, we haven't decided yet. We've decided about what the tier prices will be, but the price of the final game will really depend on where we want to go with it. If we're going it's, this kind of co-op battle where there isn't a big story, it will be less expensive. If, and we're talking to, like I said, we're talking to a few people. If we wanted to build it out more, then it might be more expensive, a more full-price game. We honestly haven't decided. Right now, all our focus was building a really fun co-op game where players play in lots of different scenarios, compete on leaderboards, progress their characters, and see what happens from there.
Drestina wants to know if someone is holding a gun to your head. Why are you saying these awful things to me?
Don't think so. Why am I saying these awful things?
Yeah.
I don't. What awful things? Please elaborate. What, Mike? Don't know. I don't know what's awful about saying you have a free game, sped up CU, improved performance, finishing off Linuxification, all that. So I am a little confused.
I'm waiting to hear more from them, but Says 40 Ward asks, could you please elaborate on your idea of a public roadmap? What will you include in terms of progress, scale, and scope?
So, for Colossus, for Ragnarok, we want to lay out everything we have planned for the next 6 months in terms of champions, scenarios, NPCs, etc., etc., etc. We also lay out battle pass and stuff like that, and talk in more detail about microtrans. But again, anyone who knows me knows my abhorrence of some of the techniques used to make money off gamers. So, you won't have to worry about anything like that. You just won't, and the investors won't do it either. So that's hopefully that answers your question.
To Shut Kid Up asks, all I want to know is, when can I stream it?
So I don't know if you are a backer in CU. IT will be in first. We may allow streaming then, depending on just where we're at. You saw the game. I am happy to stream it right now, but we just want to make sure that look, there'll be some no stream days as we test new things and things blow up. If you're IT, if you're not IT, by the time we say that, okay, we're bringing in outside people, we will probably, not 100% guarantee, probably allow streaming. And certainly, if somebody already is a streamer and wants to stream, we're certainly willing to talk about it. Absolutely.
PGMP asks, or says, continue with the great work. In the end product is what matters. If it's successful and helps CU, it's more than welcome. If it flops and takes resources and time, well, a lot of us will be sad.
Well, it's already helped CU. There is no if here, guys. I mean, that's the thing, and I can't stress it enough. There is no if this helps CU. It has already helped CU. It got us additional engineers. It got us additional artists. And one of the artists who came in, absolutely, partially, if not mostly, due to Colossus, has turned out to be a big win for us in terms of his contribution on the tech side. And the new engineers have been also just, outstanding. Some cases absolutely exceeding expectations. So it's not a question of if this helps CU. That is not even subject to debate, because it already has helped CU in so many ways. And that's what's so important about this. And that's why, I've been trying to stress it during this talk, is that it has already helped CU in so many ways. And if you go to Massively, you'll see an interview with them, and they ask me essentially that question. Look at my answer. That is stuff that is already in there and is either working nicely or almost finished. That has helped CU already and will help CU more. I mean, and again, it's just as simple as doing the math. More engineers, more artists, more tech getting done, more art getting done. Linuxification means lower costs for the studio as we develop both games. All of that is a big win for CU, every single thing, and more. Please go to Massively, look at what I've said. It answers some additional questions.
Many people have asked if there will be an accompanying public roadmap for Camelot Unchained.
Absolutely. No doubt about it. We have to get, once we start talking about Colossus, then we got to take the time and set out the expectations for CU, just as we're setting out the expectations for Colossus. No problem with that at all.
Ozel77. Are there going to be talent trees for progression if I am developing my character over time? I hope it isn't just a couple power-ups in the match.
No, it won't be just a couple power-ups. Progression is important, obviously, in these kind of games, just like in CU. Ben and I have talked about a number of things. We want progression to play a nice role in retention, because obviously, if it was just what you saw today, it could be a fun diversion, but it isn't a game that would keep people for a long time. On the other hand, more scenarios, real progression, other things, that makes it more interesting. Different difficulty settings so you can challenge yourself or challenge your team or challenge your guild. Different settings in terms of how many players can play together. So it's not a 4-player game or a 6-player game. We're going to be launching with a 10-player co-op mode. So, there's so many things that we can do. And on our private forums where we've been discussing this, there are already backers talking about, okay, well, here's what we want to see next. And here are different modes that we want to see. The engine is so configurable right now. And this is thanks, obviously, to the great work, done by the engineers and by design as well in laying out the expectations. It's really easy for us to do things, this sort of thing, like super easy. The amount of progress and the ability to iterate has changed enormously in the last 6 months. I mean, literally, Ben and I can go in, make major changes to a scenario, type one command, and it's in the game. It really is that simple. And the changes we make, it doesn't have to go through depending if you want to change, art assets, but you don't have to, use the editor. You don't have to do other things. So you just use Overmind. And literally, you can have a different experience in the same map, minutes, depending on what you're talking about, or hours if you want to get more complicated. It isn't hard. It really isn't. And that's going to be for the benefit of CU as well, in every way. Like I said, the depths, just the depths. Even if you didn't even think about the Dragon's Web, or if you didn't think about other things, how they could be useful in CU, just the depths. So we've now sped up the delivery of the depths. So once again, there is no question that this has sped up CU, none, and it has benefited CU.
Lomesh asks, what kind of microtransactions are available for purchase in this game? The Massively article says we are getting credits in this game as CU backers, but what can we use them on? Are they cosmetic only? Are there power boosts, etc.?
Oh, pay-to-win stuff. You know me. No, it's all cosmetic stuff. Other champions as well. All the things that you would like to see, in a game that, is growing. Now, keep in mind that depending on your tier, you're going to get more. It's more than just credits. You're going to get everything. I mean, so over the next 6 months, let's say we added 4 new champions. Guess what? You don't have to buy those. Oh, what if we add new maps? Nope, don't have to buy those either. We're giving them to you. We're not God. We are so not trying to monetize you folks. I would have failed my economics course. We're not doing that. We're just saying, help us on this journey. Continue to be supportive of us, not by, throwing more money our way, by playing the games, by helping us with CU, by, continuing with CU and helping us with Colossus. We haven't, you won't have an opportunity to, if you are a CU backer right now, you will not have an opportunity to buy things. You're getting everything. It's anything we develop from now until we launch. It comes with your tier. You're given a Colossus tier, and you get all this stuff. There's no bait and switch. There's no, well, I didn't tell you about this stuff that you'll have to pay extra for, but you want to pay extra for it anyway. No, there's nothing. Anything we add, that goes into the launch. All of you CU backers, you get it. It's in there. It's in the tier. So, the microtrans that will be there again, skins, champions, things like that. But no pay to win bullshit. None. Period. Not doing that. Not with this game. Hopefully not with any game.
Steven on the YouTube asks, will we hit 3 hours?
Sure. I can do another 15, minutes. This is easy. Honestly, I love talking. You all are owed an explanation. You all are owed respect. And I'm trying to give it to you. And I'll keep giving it to you, even if it runs a little longer.
Word Guy asks, if this strategy of using a sidecar game to develop the main one is so beneficial for the development speed of the main game, why don't more companies do this? If they do, why didn't you do it earlier? If not, do you expect other developers to start to do this because it's clearly been so beneficial for CSE?
Oh my God, when I had the idea for the game, you can ask Andrew. I guess, Lady J, I was like, why the hell didn't I think of this a year before? Oh my, I came in here bitching about that. And even the guys heard me here say, why the F didn't I think of this, a year or two earlier? I wish I had. God, do I wish I had. Now, why haven't other developers done this? Some have tried. Hasn't gone as well. We were really careful about this. And this is, again, I told the story earlier of how this came about. This wouldn't have happened if we couldn't have reused all this stuff, if we didn't benefit by all this stuff. I think in these situations, developers can do that. It's not easy. You have to have a special team. And, we do have a special team. We've got a bunch of hardworking guys and gals who believe in what we're doing, who are just working really hard on this, whether it was CU or Colossus. And they're excited by this. Other developers, like I said, have tried. Sometimes, I got to be really careful here. I don't like criticizing other developers, but they haven't taken the approach we've taken. You've seen this approach. You've seen me sit here for 3 hours almost talking to you directly. You've seen what we've said on Massively. I've gone on record as saying, we're not charging you guys. You've seen this all. Think about how many other developers who've tried something like that have said this to you. Who said we're trying to avoid making you spend money. Look, we have 40,000, folks who've donated to CU. And, I could have made all sorts of pleas to try to get additional money over the, last 6 years, but we haven't. We haven't done any fundraising from you folks. We haven't done, sales of anything. We haven't even had a sale in the store. And so, if you look at all that, and you look at, what we're doing now, that is all part of being able to say to you, hopefully, that we're doing right by you. I think we're doing right by you. Andrew thought we were doing right by you. The investors thought we were being too generous with you. But bless their heart, they absolutely went along with it. They thought I was being too generous when I did the funding deal, in terms of what I did for the team. But that's what we do here. And sometimes, we got to make decisions that might not always seem to be the smartest. And sometimes maybe they're not, because no one's perfect. But I look at what we've done, and you've seen what we've done. That wasn't a video, that was our people playing, and then it was you people playing. So, not everyone can do that. And we've done it. And we've done it while we're building out our own engine. And that is one of the things that I hope everyone who sees this video takes into account. We're building this engine. We're building an engine that nobody else has been able to build to date. You've seen it in the Cherry Keep sieges. You've now seen it in Colossus. And that's going to give you the game that you folks want, whether it's Colossus or CU. You're going to get that performance. You're going to get the ability to do things that all of us who love these kind of games have dreamed of. That kind of performance, the not slideshow, the ability to say, oh yeah, whatever, 500 people, 1,000, whatever. That's cool. And it's not hurting performance. That's what you guys are going to get. And that was one of the reasons we made this decision, to help make sure that you guys got it.
Sismic80 asks, am I to understand that CU is still just an early beta-looking unfinished game, but there is now another unfinished game in the works?
Yep. You want to look at it that way? Absolutely. You could also look at it in the way of, we just advanced CU's progress by many, many months. We now have something that looks really good. We now have essentially what was and could be looked as really in a different scenario that is now going to form the basis of everything to come from CU in the next whatever months. 1 month? Absolutely. 6 months? Absolutely. A year. 2 years. Everything we've done is going to push CU forward. Absolutely. Almost everything. Again, there's some art that you can't honestly say is going to push CU forward. But the tech is. All the stuff you saw today. Multiple times.
Long name to get noticed asks, when will we see all of this in CU? When will we see a roadmap for CU?
Well, I just answered that question about the roadmap, so that, that'll come after we do a roadmap for Colossus, because that's an easier roadmap. And then when will you see it in CU? You already are. What you're seeing is the engine. Again, I know a lot of you are coming and going, and that's okay. So I don't mind answering it again. All of what you saw is part of CU already. All the tech, it's all part of it. It's the engine. Everything is the engine. And so you have just seen all the improvements that are going into CU. The performance improvements, as Andrew talked about a while ago. Overmind. You haven't seen Linuxification, but it's on a server. So all of that is CU. You have just seen a lot of improvements for CU wrapped around a different set of art and abilities. But look at the abilities. Look at the NPCs. Look at how they're moving. Look at how they're, pathing. All of this is CU.
I just want to check, are you going to lose your voice before
Nope.
we... Okay.
I'm good. I can do this forever.
That's amazing.
7 years ago, we started work on a game called CU. Anyway.
Man, I hope it doesn't get to 4 score.
Yeah.
Lomesh asks,
I thought that was a good joke.
Yeah.
I could have said it for Julius Caesar, but,
Will backers that are getting multiple CU copies also get multiple Ragnarok Last Stand accounts for free?
Oh, that's a really good... I hadn't thought about that, actually. To be fair, yes, that would be fair. but only if they're separate tiers. So if you bought two separate tiers, absolutely. As I said earlier, the value of your tier will be used to calculate credits and stuff in Colossus. So you're going to get the benefit of that. But if you actually have two separate, tiers, that will be part of it. I mean, meaning you will get another Colossus tier.
Jack Mode asks, can we talk about projectiles? In Ragnarok, your character was shooting arrows across the map. Is there projectile drop and or damage fall off in both CU and Rag? Are those easy values to adjust?
Yeah, those are really easy values to adjust. And yeah, did you like that firing across the map? Was that cool? I mean, that's the thing about this engine. That's, we can do so much with it. Literally, when you think about this type of game, or you think about CU, and you think about having support, archers, or you think about other, mages, and even siege weapons that can do things that you don't see in other games. If you looked at the, while we were streaming, look at as usual, our ridiculous draw distance. Look at how far out you are actually seeing and can affect things. That isn't faked. If you're all the way out there and you're a little thing kind of walking around and my bow can reach you, and the bows can reach halfway across the map, for gosh sakes, you'll be damaged. And, there was one time when we were testing where I jumped up on a roof and a few of the people were defending a fountain. And this is in the old map. And it was like calling in artillery. I was like, okay, how far off was that shot? Okay, you got to bring it in a little bit. And literally, I'm on, the other side, of this little valley with a tiny town on top of a hill. And there I am playing howitzer. And so there's going to be so much interesting emergent gameplay that's going to come from this sort of thing. We're super excited. And again, it will work for CU as well if we all think that that's a good way to do it.
5-minute warning?
Maybe. We'll
Maybe.
see.
Okay.
I'm good. You may not be. I may have to get somebody to sub in for you, but I'm fine. Look, I know this is a big deal. I know that there are people, who have every right to be disappointed. I'm hoping vast majority of you are excited about having two games to play, over the next how many months? I mean, because that's what it boils down to. Now you have two things to play, and one of them, and both of them are very different from each other.
Drestina asks, will the lore from this game be linked to CU?
Right now, no. Could we see CU characters coming into Final Stand? Possibly. But, right now I wanted, Ragnarok to be Ragnarok. With some changes. Obviously, you saw that the champions weren't just Vikings. There'll be plenty of Vikings, but we wanted, to pull in heroes and heroines from champions from other realms. And so, you name it. We've got races, religions, cultures, legends. I've spec'd out like 35 so far in terms of backstory. And, they run in all shapes and sizes, and it's going to be fun. But we really do want to just keep this reasonably tight for now. But down the road, could, folks from CU appear in here? Absolutely. We've already said Ragnarok is full of champions from throughout, the 9 worlds and time. Well, Middle-earth, after all, was one of the 9 worlds. And according to the Norse, that's what we're living on now. So, yes, they could absolutely appear. But just not right now.
Beleda asks, can you understand why people feel like they have been deceived? You show us a game you've worked on for 4.5 months. On one hand, you tell us they are the same, and on the other, when it suits you, they are different games.
No, they're always different games. They're the same engine. That's the difference. Same engine, different games. That's all I've been saying. They are different games, but the engine's the same. Linuxification, NPCs, improvement to performance, visual improvements. That's engine related. Please understand the difference. These are different games, but the engine is the same engine. We haven't switched engines. This is the Unchained engine. It's the exact same engine. So all the improvements we've made to the engine are for the two different games. So if you feel deceived because I've said we've improved the engine and both games have been improved, I can't say anything about that other than it's not true. If you think you've been deceived because we haven't told you about what we've been working on for 4.5 months or 6 months starting in July, but even then we were still doing, we hadn't really been doing any Colossal stuff yet, other than, producers doing, projections and stuff. If you feel deceived over that, all I can say is we've been telling you what we've been doing. We've been telling you about Linuxification. We've been telling you about NPC stuff. That's engine work. It's always characterized as engine work, tech work. So, if we kept a secret, sure. We didn't tell you about this game. Most companies don't necessarily tell you about what they're working on until they're ready to start, hyping it. So that's no different than, how most companies do things. And again, since we're not looking for a penny from you guys, not a penny. That's why you get everything we do now and until this launches for free. So I don't know how you can feel deceived about that. Frustrated, sure, but again, we haven't lied, not once. Everything that you look at our updates. Just look at the updates. Look at what we talk about in terms of tech. Look at what we talk about in terms of the Drow Guard. You saw them. They'll be in CU as well. So, if it's just that we didn't tell you, yeah, I get that. But we couldn't. As I said earlier, we weren't sure we were going to go through with it. And then once we were sure we were going to try, we didn't know if it was going to work. We hoped it was going to work. But, when you build your own engine and you're starting to push it into all sorts of different directions, you don't know how it's going to end up. Luckily, it's ended up really, really well, and you've seen it. And if you're still feeling deceived, well, look, we've said from the beginning we're not turning off refunds. If you need any more faith that what we're doing is we're doing it no matter what, we're doing it the right way, look at that. You can't even get refunds from a lot of games that have a lot more money than we have. But we're saying, sure, we believe in ourselves, and we believe in our backers. And, maybe I'll be wrong this time. Maybe you folks will be very angry. I hope not. I really do. I want to keep you all. I want you, to play CU if you're a CU backer. And we're hoping some of you want to play Colossus too. It's a lot of fun already. And it'll be more fun as we add more things to it and we add progression to it. But we're doing things the right way because if you're not happy, you ask for a refund. It's that simple. See? Made it 3 hours.
Awesome. Lion2K asks, so when is the engine done to actually play the game promised? It's been 7 years.
Well, it hasn't been 7 years, first of all. We did the Kickstarter in May. We didn't start working on it until October. So it isn't 7. And I'm not trying to argue semantics, but I've had people say, oh, it's 8 years and 9 years. Well, no, it isn't. You can just look at the Kickstarter. In terms of being able to play it, you've been playing it, and you're going to play it again in February. You'll have, the first pass at new scenario from Ben. You'll have more work from CU. These were things, and again, I keep saying, unfortunately, sometimes the same thing of all this stuff was needed for almost all this stuff was needed for CU. So, you'll see it the next time. The next time you go into CU, you'll see a lot of this stuff by default, like the client stuff, the engine performance. And then once we put Overmind into CU, you'll see that. So, like the next time we have testing and a new patcher, we need a new patcher to handle this. So that'll be, in as well. So, like in February. And you'll be able to play Colossus as well in February. Hopefully on Monday, depending on where we're at. Because I've been here, I don't know how testing went on auto scaling. So it may be as early as Monday. It may be next week for that, or the week after for that. But we're going to bring more of our backers in next week to join the ones who are already in there.
I guess a lot of people are, coming in over the course of this long stream. They want to know if there's a release date for CU with the assistance of this new game.
Hopefully faster than expected. I'm not giving out dates. I said that years ago. We're still not going to talk dates. When you look at all the Kickstarter games that talk dates and don't make them, we're just saying no dates. But you're seeing a lot of progress. So it's not like no dates and we're not showing progress. Not only are we showing progress, you folks will be able to play in what you just saw. That exact game, just as you saw it.
This might be a good one to end on. I don't know. Hey Hef asks, what is your ideal outcome for both games?
Oh, that is a good question. Good. Okay, awesome. Thank you, Hayaf. Let's start with Colossus. So my ideal scenario for Colossus is that we release it by the end of the year. We port it to the consoles. It sells a few million copies and continues to hold people's attention, not all those people, for a number of years as we continue to work on it. That drives enough revenue to speed up CU. By the end of the same year, we want CU to be in quite interesting shape. We hope and expect that all classes will be in, that crafting and the other major systems are all in really, really good shape, and that we have a decision of whether we can launch or not. That would be the ideal situation. Again, and I'm sorry for repeating this, and not because of your question, because your question was a great one. We have just made some big leaps in progress in CU because of what we did with Colossus. So, I know that's hard for some people to understand because you're not thinking of the engine, but please think of the engine. Think of what you just saw in the game. Think of the performance. Think of everything that we've been talking about for the last 6 months. You just saw a lot of it live. You can't see other stuff like Linuxification live until we do, a next live stream on a Linux server. But that should be next week. I was playing it yesterday. So, as far as I'm concerned, this is going to be an awesome year. And it's not a question of if you'll be playing Colossus or if you'll be playing CU, unless you have to ask that to yourself. You will be playing both. Our backers are already playing, Colossus. Other backers will be playing Colossus this coming week. And hopefully in a couple weeks, all of you will have a chance, to come in and play that while playing CU on another server. And, I urge you to think about that. This Colossus isn't for everyone. CU isn't for everyone. We've always said that. But what we're saying to you folks, why not both? You have a chance now to play 2 different games from a development team that has just done something that is amazing. It's not that the game is amazing yet, but what we've done in these months is amazing. For the last number of years, people have been saying, God, your progress is so slow. Look at what we've done literally in the last 4.5 months. And when I keep saying 6 and 4, remember we brought on new people and we were, doing design. So, if you just factor in the hard work by the artists and all the engineers and all that, it's closer to 4.5 than the 6. Though you have to count this month, actually. Sorry. And look at what we've done in that time. And just keep in mind, again, that we have now almost eliminated some of the big hurdles, not tough ones, just ones that took time, that we needed to do, including Linuxification, including NPCs, including performance, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And you're seeing it. You saw it today, you'll see it next week, and hopefully you'll join us on what will be a really, really interesting journey over the remainder of this year. The little studio that, you know, has been nowhere near as well funded as our competition, that's building its own engine, that's, you know, treating its backers with respect, that's giving you our backers this game, and not looking to monetize you again with this game, are going to be playing with you in both games for the remainder of the year. And, you know, it's up to you whether you want to join us, whether you feel that we weren't, you know, didn't give you all the information. Well, we didn't. We weren't sure, if we were going to do it. But we gave you all the information we've been giving you over the last 6 months. Every bit of it has been true. Every single bit. And it's all been for both CU and Colossus. You've seen the results. You've seen what we can do. You've seen what the engine can do. And you have to ask yourself, is there any other engine out there on the planet that can do what we have done? Do it as smoothly. Do it with the unique way we do some things. And whether you want to be a part of it, because it's going to be a lot of fun. I guarantee it. Mainly if for no other reason that we've been playing it for weeks with backers. That's really all I can say. So with that, let me say thank you to everybody. Thank you for your patience. Thank you even if you refund. Thank you for giving us a chance to show you something that we think is going to be fantastic. We think it is both fantastic from the fun side, but also fantastic because it is sped up CU. Because it is given to CU things that were going to have to be done eventually, but are done now. We thank you for, you know, your support up to now. Again, whether it continues or not. We hope it does, because we're not anything but giving up on CU. Again, that would have been easy to do. I mean, not on an emotional level, it would have been devastating for me, but legally it would have been easy to do. But we didn't do that. We did the opposite. We doubled down. Investors doubled down. I doubled down. So, you know, I hope that and everything you've seen in the videos today, or not videos, in the, you know, play sessions today, and the videos when you see this not live, will convince you that we're worth a little bit more time. And hopefully you'll join us for Colossus. You'll keep supporting us for CU, and you'll have a ball, because both games are going to go, you know, so much further in the next 6 months than you would have believed, what, 3.5 hours ago. We showed you some great things. More great things are coming. And with that, as always, we thank you for your support. We thank you for your patience. And, well, you know, I hope to be killed by you and see you, but work with you in Colossus, because I could use help in both games. You know, I'm just not the best, you know, player that you could possibly find. I'm not a bad archer, but not necessarily great at other things. So my aim on still not great on the controller. And have a great weekend. Stay safe. And I'll see, I hope all of you who are backers, I hope I'll see you all next week, or in the coming weeks, certainly, in Colossus and in CU. So, again, good night, and or good morning, depending on when you see this, and have a great weekend.
Bye-bye.